She's dead. Wrapped in plastic.
Welcome to the Twin Peaks Podcast.
Damn good coffee. And hot. Would everyone please take a seat?
Welcome to the Twin Peaks Podcast. I'm Matt.
I'm Mel.
I'm Caitlin. Oh no.
And
I'm Dougie.
Okay, that's better. Thank you. I feel better.
And today we have a special guest, Gary.
hey, hello.
Hey.
Gary's a nice guy that we met at the Twin Peaks Fest in 2015, hung out with him. Do you have any claims
Yes,
to
indeed.
fame on the internet that maybe people
What?
know you from or you want people to know about?
Well, I actually just had a little bit of success with a YouTube video that some people may have seen that was like an hour-long mashup of the first couple seasons of Twin Peaks and Fire Walk with Me. Put it out there so people could have it before, their premiere parties. And yeah, it's got almost 100,000 views right now on Vimeo and YouTube, so I was really happy about that.
So that recap video to get people primed for this season, that was yours, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Yeah, I actually watched that, showed my parents and everything. It was all for naught, though, because when they saw this new season, they're like, this isn't for us.
Yeah.
They love the original series, but
No, that just means they're not true
they're
fans,
not
Matt.
true Lynch fans, guys.
Matt, was it your parents who kind of checked out when aliens got mentioned? Am I remembering that correctly?
No, I think they were fine.
Okay. Yeah, I was gonna say this is definitely a bridge too far for anybody who got weirded out by messages in the woods.
Yeah.
I remember us, Brad was really, hoping it wasn't aliens back in season 2 when
I know.
they brought up.
I still no aliens.
Okay, so yeah, I listened to a lot of Twin Peaks podcasts and read a lot of opinions and stuff over the past week about the new season, and I just feel so alone, guys. I feel so alone in that I don't love this in every way, like everyone else seems to. There's so many people who are like, this is perfect, it's genius, it's exactly what I wanted / imagined it would
wow.
be.
I'm not buying it. Listen,
it feels hard to buy that people.
Well, I mean, some people might genuinely feel that way, but everybody feeling that way seems a little much.
Listen. A lot of people really loved the Phantom Menace when it first came out too.
I still love that movie. I still love it.
I saw it 4 times in the theater.
What? I don't even know you anymore.
It was mostly for the lightsaber battles in the pod race.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, that's the best.
Sure.
It's like Quidditch and Harry Potter.
Yeah, it was quite a spectacle in the theater. But yeah,
I
mean, I've heard lots of people say they don't like it on message boards, but anybody who has a public Twin Peaks presence, like a podcast or a blog or whatever, they all love it. They all love it.
Listen, we can. I definitely believe people. I'm still enjoying it.
I
but
like it. Yeah.
There's no way this is this is what I was looking for. This is what I was hoping.
This is how I imagined it would be. How could you
Not a
possibly
chance.
imagine it would be this way? I don't know.
Interesting. Have we done a bank account check for these people?
Well, I don't want to suggest that. But...
I'm just kidding. I'm not serious.
We should
Big Lynch paying them off.
We should get Gary's overall impressions.
Gary, what do you
of this.
think?
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
It's okay if you
I
love it in every way. It's okay.
Yeah, well, no, I think I'm going to be the resident apologist this week because, just a little bit of background. I definitely came to Twin Peaks through Lynch and not the other way around. So, my favorite movie is Mulholland Drive, and I'm very, very much keyed into late era Lynch or whatever you want to call it from, the like Lost Highway and onwards. So going into the season, I was I was prepared for something that was going to feel very different from the original show, because David Lynch is not the same guy who, directed the pilot in 1989.
Even with all the advertisings, like, invoking the feel of the old show.
Yeah, because I know how marketing departments work, and I just had this feeling that, like, we are going to be sort of assaulted with something that's going to be very... I was hoping it would be something very different, because if it wasn't, then this would just be, like Arrested Development season 4 or something. This would just be, like a victory lap, or a getting the gang back together for a Brady Bunch movie or something, and that's not what I wanted. I mean, I love the humor, I love the coziness of the original series, and I feel and I hope we're going to get back to that. I mean, by the 4th episode, and we can talk about it later, but I feel like we're going back to a place that has room for more levity. But mostly, I just wanted to be surprised, and I was definitely surprised by, Go ahead.
Sorry, that's funny that you mentioned Arrested Development, because I was talking to my friend about Arrested Development season 4, and she was like, so many people hated it because they changed stuff in it. Like, they just changed the format of it, because, not all the ensemble was together at the same time, so they were like, it was so different.
So different, yeah. You want to see different, huh? I don't know. I mean, I do like this. I like David Lynch films. It's just... I wanted Twin Peaks. I waited for so long for more Twin Peaks. It was promised as Twin Peaks, and it feels like something different. That's not to say that what it is bad. It's just not what I wanted.
I mean, look, after a quarter century of waiting and speculating and hype. I mean, no one was going to get exactly what they wanted, because everybody's going to want something different.
I was a little bit emboldened, though, because I was listening to an interview with Harley Payton, one of the writers from season 2, and he basically feels the exact same way I do.
Well, they still talked it up a lot.
Yeah, they still he didn't do the normal thing where he just praised a fellow
Well, I
Hollywood
feel like
person.
that's a Hollywood thing, though.
Yeah, he didn't kiss David Lynch's ass. He's like, I was taken aback and put off, and it wasn't exactly what I wanted, and I was afraid it would be too Lynchy and stuff. But I do like it, and blah, blah, blah. That whole thing. Basically, everything I've been saying, he feels the same way. And to have a writer of Twin Peaks, somebody who wrote the line, give yourself a present every day. That's his kind of thing that he wrote. To have him feel the same way I do kind of makes me feel a little bit better and less lonely. Anyways, I'll stop going on about this.
I will, because I'm not looking up any reaction or anything, because no. But I did see Paul F. Tompkins fighting off crazy people on the internet.
Oh, really?
What? Really?
Yeah, because he posted a couple of things. He's got some good tweets out there. One of them he's like, what I miss about the original Twin Peaks? The talking. And then at another point he posted just a screen cap of the Michael Cera scene, and he was like, I don't know what's happening. And of course, just all of the internet David Lynch people came out, and I just saw him I understand. It's not that I don't understand what's going on. I'm just not enjoying it.
Yeah.
And
how is Paul F. Tompkins not in this, by the way? Yeah. Of all 200 people, I feel like he has to be in there somewhere.
Surely.
There's other comedians. He's got a lot going on, though. All right, so let's get into these episodes, unless somebody else says anything. So episode 3 opens with Coop still falling through space / maybe non-existence. I don't know. And then he lands on a balcony, and let's just talk about this entire thing. I think it lasts at least 20 minutes. This whole thing.
Yeah.
So bring up any notes you have, anything you want to talk about this whole section inside this box floating in space with all that stuff.
Is it in space, or is it?
I don't know. I gotta say,
it's on the sea, it's in space.
Yeah, this was the hardest, out of the 4 episodes, this was the hardest part for me to get through. This was the part where I'm the closest I came to, I'm out. I just...
Yeah, this is harsh, but this is just 100% Eraserhead time.
Mm-hmm.
David Lynch and the Lumiere brothers getting together.
Yeah.
This segment was something I found really captivating when I watched it for the first time, because going back to what I was saying about these reunion seasons of shows like this, one of my biggest concerns would be if the whole metaphysical aspect of Twin Peaks either got over-explained or wasn't extrapolated upon at all. If it had just been like, here's the Red Room again, it would start to feel like just playing to its own cliches. But the fact that we've now sort of expanded the topography of what that space is, I don't even think you can call it the Black Lodge anymore, because it feels so much bigger than that. It feels like we're just ripping open a little hole in the fabric of the multiverse or something, and it's just so weird and so visually interesting. It's actually really hard if somebody says draw something that doesn't look like anything else, right? Draw something that looks wholly original, wholly unique. Yeah. But that space station thing, I feel like you invented the last shape.
That's a shape that has no name yet.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just didn't like. I didn't like the backward editing and stuff. And
I would have enjoyed it if it wasn't 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Listen, I enjoy some David Lynch taking his time and making things awkward, and but it's beyond that. It's not effective when it goes on for so long. I'm not.
It's like
I just don't think it's.
You're beating it to death, kind of thing.
I just don't think it's effective. I don't see that there's any. It doesn't work. It just does not work.
I also had a hard time watching it, but I think I could have enjoyed it a little more if I had that continuity from episodes 2 to 3 and I didn't have a week break between them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it opens up with him falling through space. You're like, oh yeah, that's a thing. You kind of forget where he was last time.
Yeah, and it kind of got the groove of this whole feel of this wherever he is in the episodes 1 and 2, because they had so much of that, but they kind of built up to it, and then you just land on episode 3, it's full on in your face.
So yeah, I'm not sure what the lady with the putty on her eyes is, who can't make her voice heard. I'm not sure what she's trying to do. It seems like she's trying to help him. I don't know who she's supposed to be.
I feel like she's the half of not Judy. Josie. I feel like she's the half of Josie that's not caught in wood.
The other half's caught in a power station.
Yeah.
One part of Josie went into wood, one part went into the radiator.
Yeah, exactly.
The woman in the radiator in the racer. So yeah, and there's a creature pounding on the door, and it feels like maybe that could be the same creature from the box that appeared after Cooper appeared in the box, maybe, and now it's following him here.
It was making the same noises when it was knocking as when Cooper showed up in the box, and the box was doing that weird old camera kind of lens thing where it was moving back and forth. It was that same exact sound effect. Yeah. Yeah.
And there's a giant electrical outlet on the wall, which is significant. We find out
it's got numbers on it that keep changing, or that changed when he went upstairs and then came back downstairs. Yeah, someone had pasted a piece of paper with a different number on it.
If any number crunchers are out there doing the math on this, please let me know, because I'm not keeping up with all the numbers. I can't.
Yeah, there's two different sets of numbers. There's this 15 and 3, or 315, which is Cooper's room number at the Great Northern. But there's
I survived Lost. I'm not following numbers again.
Oh no.
It's gonna be some sort of Fibonacci sequence or something.
Yeah. Well, I saw somebody on the internet point out the fact that the telephone pole in Fire Walk With Me that has the number 6 written on it, and the shot kind of lingers on that. It's in the exact same typeface as all the numbers we see here in the station. So, is it as simple as those are just, it's platform 9 3/4, these are just different freeway off-ramps, and that once you flip the switch, it just changed where Cooper gets spit out? That's kind of what I take from it.
Perhaps.
Could be.
I do like oh, sorry, go on.
No, you You go.
I was gonna say I do like that we get an appearance from Major Briggs in space.
Yes, yeah, that was great.
Oh yeah.
I want to know how that was done. Like, was that an old piece of footage? Is that entirely CG constructed?
It looked like an old piece of footage,
Yeah.
just slowed down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I couldn't really tell if it sounded like him because it was too garbled. But
He turned into a Tim and Eric sketch.
yeah.
So one thing about that, if we want to talk about the second woman that he sees.
Actually, I want to talk about the woman, like, basically sacrificing herself for, like, Cooper. Like,
Yeah, why'd she do that?
what? Yeah, like, I'm just curious as to why, like, if, I don't know, did she have to do that? Like, was that truly necessary?
That turned on the lights in the room or something, didn't
Yeah,
I really feel like we're playing Myst. Like,
yeah.
it? Anyways, Gary, what were you gonna say?
Sorry.
Well, it's interesting. I haven't heard a lot said on the internet about the fact that the second woman that he sees is Phoebe Augustine. It's
Oh. Yeah.
yeah, and but she's credited as American Girl, not as Ronette.
oh.
So I don't know. I don't know if it's just Lynch bringing back another actor from his stable, or if Cooper's seeing a manifestation of somebody that was important in that case, or what. But it's interesting. You know, that's one of the things about like the Black Lodge and everything. It's like how much of what we see is it like the Dagobah cave in The Empire Strikes Back? Like, is it the baggage you bring with you, or are these things physically, tangibly there? Like Ronette, or the American Girl, or whatever you want to call her, she's wearing a watch, and it's a modern day watch with like a LED screen and everything. You know, it's not something Cooper would have remembered from his life in the real world, and it's not, you know, some like 50s you know, telephone or anything else that looks like Lynchy. It's just a straight up like off the shelf modern department store watch, which is weird. It's like, are they like, do the Lodge spirits, they import their stuff from Sears? I don't know.
They just yank them through outlets.
Yeah.
That's probably what they use those for. They just go and shop, they come back.
Hey, an arm just came out of that outlet and yanked a watch.
That's where Josie went when she was like shopping. She didn't actually go to Seattle. She went through an
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh. That's fun.
It's called an outlet mall for a reason.
I wasn't gonna go there.
But
So yeah, I couldn't really tell it was her. I only knew it was her from the credits. Like again, there's no close up of another person.
I thought her
And
face
her
was.
face has changed a lot.
I thought
I
her
find.
face fit the scene very well, though. Like, I thought,
Yeah.
like, just her look and stuff, and, like, when she spoke, I thought that was really nice. Like, I thought it was just cool. It made it creepy.
I think she was the best so far at all the people who spoke
I think so.
backwards.
I agree.
Yeah, agreed.
Very clear. I could understand her. But yeah, this whole thing, Cooper eventually like goes into the outlet in like a delightful effect. I found it was great. Like it was just like he starts planking into the outlet basically.
When his head
shoes
is
fall
getting
off at the end.
stretched out.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
Yeah, I love the shoes thing, Caitlin, too.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
just a little sight gag. At the end,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
I like that. And some people are wondering if, you know, when his head's stretching and burning, is that like frying his brain? Is that why he's a dummy now? Like...
Well, because he seemed to have all his mental faculties here. Like, as far as I could tell anyways, from what little speaking he did do.
Yeah.
He seemed to be normal Cooper.
He still seemed... Well, he's normal Red
Ish.
Room Cooper.
Yeah.
Who's a little bit slow, but not as slow as Dougie. The doppelganger's driving, and he keeps his vision's going all blurry, and the cigarette lighter is zapping, and it feels like Cooper's gonna come out of there.
Yeah.
But I was just like, he keeps trying to get control of his car while he's like basically about to pass out. I'm just like, pull over.
Yeah.
But
This really reminded me of, I don't know if any of you guys ever seen, like on YouTube, this 1967 fake commercial that David Lynch directed for like Anacin. It's like a headache medicine.
no.
What? I have no idea.
Yeah, it's
That's
like,
amazing.
I don't know if he must have been, like in high school or in college or something at the time, really young, and but that it's the same kind of subjective. He has this thing about like head-splitting violent headaches. He must have really bad migraines or something.
A lot of stuff in this series reminds me of a different David Lynch commercial, actually, the PlayStation third place commercial. Like, that one's just way out there, and this season feels like that. So yeah. Then we are introduced to another Cooper. What did you guys think of Dougie? What was your first reaction?
He's got a terrible style and terrible Steve Bannon hair.
I think.
Yeah.
I think he's a real estate agent or something. I think it fits.
What? You think that's why he's in that house?
Well, yeah. How else would they have keys for that?
Suppose, yeah.
I think that's why he has that jacket.
Mm-hmm.
Either that or he just got off the PGA tournament.
Yeah. Yeah, were you guys supremely confused? I know I was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do we need a third Cooper? This is too much.
At first, my first reaction was that too. I was like, "Oh, come on, where are we now? What's happening? I'm so confused. I don't like this." And then, as I found out who he was, what he was for, and how they handled it, I was like, "Oh, that's actually kind of cool." Like,
Yeah.
evil Cooper didn't want to go back, so we made this guy.
It's neat. I'm just worried that the explanations for all these stories are going to eat up a lot of time that we could be spending with Nadine and Mike.
What do you think, Caitlin?
Yeah. A lot of this episode is pretty much yelling at the TV the whole time. Being,
Oh my God.
What the hell is going on? Yeah. And this was another instance of that. Yeah. In the end, like, I think he's kind of just a cool kind of temporary character to have. I feel like they won't really need to explain him.
I feel like they already have sufficiently.
Yeah. Yeah.
What about
like,
his poor wife and child?
Oh, that part they didn't explain. Like, they didn't explain how long he's been around. Maybe he married into this. Like, maybe he's, like, her second husband or something. Like, I'm sure we'll find that out. Like, how long he's been around.
Should we talk about that now? How it's ridiculous that they don't recognize that he's changed so much?
How nobody recognizes?
Nobody recognizes that he's lost weight, that he's
Well,
but the fact is
they
he's
recognize
lost
it.
weight. Like, he's got a paunch,
Yeah.
and then he doesn't have any. Like, how could you not tell that there's something wrong? Like, even Jade doesn't notice, and she just had sex with him.
Well, I mean,
maybe Dougie's just one of those guys that you don't really ever notice. Like, he's there, but there's no bearing.
I don't buy it.
people notice he's changed in people who know him.
Really vague ways.
Yeah, but they don't notice like how profoundly stupid he is. Like they don't worry that something's wrong.
Like, he's clearly had a stroke.
Yeah, like, Jade is the only one who even suggests that. Everyone else is just like, "Gee, Dougie, you're weird. You're acting weird." Like, but there's clearly something wrong with him. And
My headcanon for that is just that, look, this guy spends a lot of time at the casino and has got obviously dug himself a money hole with the wrong people, and he's probably just high most of the time. That's the only thing I can think.
So
Yeah.
you think everyone just thinks he's high?
Yeah.
So do you think the people who tried to kill him are like debtors, working for debtors, or are they working for evil Cooper to get rid of good Coop when he replaces Dougie?
He seems, they all seem like they run with the Dark Coop crowd.
Okay. Could go either way, really. Not really giving any indication.
I'm not sure what the debtors would gain from shooting Dougie.
Well, I don't know. Eventually, if you're not going to get your money, you got to make an example of the guy.
That's true.
Or I feel like Dougie could be one of those kind of Mr. Bean type characters who manages to somehow fumble his way into very important things
Mr.
and just
Magoo?
like screws stuff up. Yeah.
Oh my god.
I want Adventures of Dougie now.
That's what we're getting.
You know what? If the next 3 episodes were just like flashback to the life of Dougie, I think I'm okay with it.
That actually would be sweet.
Just a big Mr. Bean adventure.
I want to see his full wardrobe.
12 different shades of blazer.
Do you know how many Muppets he had to kill to get those outfits? It's hugely unethical.
I'm just picturing the episode titles though now. Dougie gets a hooker. Dougie visits a casino.
But so what did you think of the original Dougie? Like he's not around for long. He has a few lines with Jade. His arm's numb because he's wearing the owl cave ring.
Exposition hooker.
What do you mean? What'd she say?
She was like, oh, why is your arm numb?
Oh.
Oh, how could that ever happen? Way too obvious.
I don't know.
It was so obvious.
I do like that he's sort of the audience proxy here. He's the only person to be like, well, that's weird.
Oh, when he's in the red room?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he does that, yes, when he's in the red room, but yeah, Jade also does that. She's one of the few people who's acted like a normal person.
Jade's like one of the only humans in this show so far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're not there yet, but also the new Sheriff Truman kind of acts like a normal person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does.
That's true. Yeah.
You know what I didn't notice in the last couple eps is that our one-armed man I'm glad he was able to get some hair dye in the Black Lodge because he doesn't have nearly as much gray as he used to.
Just going up for that consistent look.
It's just good coffee.
Yeah.
Was it like Ernie type bad hair
Ernie
dye
Niles?
job?
No,
Ernie Niles?
it's not bad at all. It's just that it's much less gray than it was in the old Twin Peaks.
I find that interesting that you would want to keep some gray, but I suppose he used that what's that product called? You know, the one where you just kind of slightly brush the gray out.
Just for
Just
men?
for
I don't
men,
know.
yes.
I mean, the hair is pretty brown. But the beard is still we still got gray going on. So I just thought it was interesting because the hair is so uniformly brown.
Yeah, he's vain, you know, that one-armed man.
So I really like this, who can hold their puke contest between Dougie and Evil Coop to see who goes in the red room. But poor Dougie doesn't know he's in a competition, so he just lets it go.
That was the oddest thing.
It was pretty gross, and especially since I was just getting over the flu myself. But.
So I do some work at Yahoo, and there was a video that we put together a couple months ago that was a montage. It was the worst thing I've ever seen of how many TV shows, like modern prestige TV shows, have featured like barf, like horrible barf scenes in the last year. It's like, you remember how like 5 or 6 years ago every movie had to have like a scene where the bad guy gets captured by the good guys and gets interrogated? This was, it's like the same thing's happening with barf, and so that was all I could think of when I was watching this, and I'm like, oh, okay, cool, like, yeah, Twin Peaks is officially in 2017. We've got a barf montage.
No one's gonna beat Evil Coop's barf.
No.
That was ridiculous. I think some Garmin Bosia came out and some blood.
Some oil, I think, engine oil.
Yeah, maybe. It was pretty impressive.
It was like all the colors of the rainbow.
Yeah. So, Dougie goes into the lodge, and we're informed by Mike that Dougie was manufactured for a purpose, and it's been fulfilled. So he turns into a barfy potato and a golden nugget. But for some reason, Mike covers his eyes when this happens. I'm not sure why he's not allowed to look at this.
He's allergic to potatoes.
He hates bad CGI gold balls.
Yes.
This was probably the most egregious CGI that we've seen yet.
Yep.
And I mean, it's worth noting this is an effect. I know you guys were talking last week about whether or not these effects are intentional.
They have.
But like I can tell you for a fact, you can go into After Effects and do this scene and composite it the way it's done here, and it takes zero extra effort to just toggle the keyframe like smoothing so that like the moves are animated like with physics instead of just like point A, point B, like stretch.
Yeah.
So it absolutely has to be intentional, and I think it's just because we're shooting in video and all of the effects have this video quality because it's like they're not really supposed to be happening in the... It's like what you're looking at is an illustration of a phenomena, not the phenomena itself, if that makes sense.
I agree. Like, I think I was right on when I said it looks like Birdemic, but...
Yeah.
I still don't like it, though. I still don't think it's the right choice.
No.
Personally, but that's...
I know.
I feel like David Lynch could do better. I feel like he could make this look more seamless in his... Like, it's just, so Birdemic that it just takes me right out.
Well, you were saying you wished there was more practical effects?
Yeah, that too. I feel like he's so good at that.
You could have made a practical barfing potato, come on.
Yeah! I feel like it would have looked so much more creepy, personally. But I'm a big fan of practical effects anyways, so, yeah.
I don't know. I've always kind of liked these very primitive, like, video effects in a lot of this stuff. You know, obviously in the old show with, like, Bob and the Owl, and even in, like, Lost Highway when Robert Blake's head suddenly materializes over what's-his-face's wife. And it's a very... It looks wrong, you know? It's like,
so
scale isn't right. But I feel like the fact that it doesn't look right, for me anyway, works because it does make it more creepy. It feels off-kilter. It feels in a way... Oh, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. It's just, to me, it doesn't look right, but not in the sense that it doesn't flow with the rest of it for me. It just feels like it's like, oh, we pasted this thing in. Like, it obviously looks like it doesn't fit in. Whereas this, like, Robert Blake's face, I was like, like, that's literally seamless. Like, like, creepy.
Well, that just happens when you see Robert Blake.
Well, yeah.
True.
Yeah, they used that exact same Robert Blake effect in Twin Peaks when they put Laura's face on Donna's face.
Yeah.
And Bob over Leland, for that matter.
That was kind of like more of a morph, I think, from one to the other. But, yeah, it was done a little bit better than the pasted face on Donna. So yeah, I love the whole sequence with Jade, like, taking care of him. Like, he needs his shoes, he doesn't have his car keys, you know, gotta shove him in the car.
She's the nicest hooker.
She's so nice.
Heart of gold.
They did seem like
Heart of gold.
It didn't seem like they had a nice relationship for a hooker and a client, though.
Yeah, I wonder if this is the first time that Dougie has just done something really weird, and it almost seemed like a dom submissive thing or something. Like, at first she's like, "Oh, Dougie, you just want me to put your shoes on for you," you know?
Yeah, and she has to give him 2 rides. Yeah.
I did like, by the way, when Cooper came into the real world, how he didn't land in the barf.
Yeah, that was a close call.
That was good. And I also like the little touch that they put by, like, giving him a sock with a hole in it. I thought that was great. I was like, of course it would be used up after 25 years.
He just seemed like a cat, you know, that just barfed up a hairball and was just sitting there.
I know, right?
What do we think of the neighbors? I'm not sure why we saw them at all. It felt inconsequential, but maybe it won't be. Like the drug-using mom and the little kid. I don't know.
I mean, it could just be, you know, this is this sort of half-abandoned, tract home neighborhood in the middle of the desert. It's you know, it's just kind of a fat trout place or something, you know, Deer Meadow.
Yeah.
I think it's just color. I think it's just local color.
Yeah, and some guy puts something under Dougie's car. I don't know. I think it's a tracker. It didn't look like a bomb. I don't know.
No, I think it's some kind of tracking.
Okay.
And the kid did witness it. He saw the guy putting that.
But I can't imagine Dougie Cooper ever going back there.
Yeah.
Maybe he will. So cops find Doppel Cooper's crash site, and one of them gets so sick that he has to be hospitalized from getting around the mess. There's not much else there. We go to Twin Peaks at one point.
Hey!
Hey!
Wait, what?
It's Hawk and Lucy and Andy have laid out all of the Coop files, and they're looking for something that's missing. What do you guys think of this one?
Andy
I
and Lucy
think-
have suffered a gas leak.
That's exactly what I wrote. I was like, have they all got dumber? Like, including Hawk? Like, is there a gas leak
I was thinking-
suffocating their brains?
Yeah, Andy and Lucy had rubbed off on him.
Yeah, it was upsetting. I would like the scene if it was a little bit faster.
Yeah.
Like I love a David Lynch stretched out scene, but this is too much, and there needs to be some music.
Yeah.
Like because it goes from the point of being awkward and uncomfortable to the point where, okay, this is weird and David Lynch and awkward and uncomfortable, to the point where, all right, I'm kind of done with this. Let's keep moving.
Man, I actually want to do that now. I want to take this scene, edit it, like cut it, trim it, make it faster, and add old Twin Peaks music and see what happens.
It would be great. It would be great.
Yeah, I might do that if I have time.
I did like the part of that scene, though, where after Lucy admits she ate the chocolate bunny, Hawk was like, "You ate the evidence?"
That was very Lucy, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of charming that she is so pure of heart and has committed so few transgressions in her life that she would remember eating a chocolate bunny so that she would fart less 25 years after it happened.
Yeah. Yeah, that did feel like Lucy to me. It's just like Brad said, just how slow everything is. It made them feel like
it makes them seem like bad actors. Like, and I don't like that because I feel you're just abusing your actors at that point. Because if you're willing to work with David Lynch, like you're going to be doing some weird things, and you have to trust that he's going to make it work. And I feel like he's being abusive.
Especially Andy, I found, seemed off.
Yeah?
Yeah, like just the way he talks to Lucy, it's almost like, I don't know, it almost sounds condescending in a way when he talks to her. I know it's not meant that way, but...
I think that's an indication of how he's treating Lucy, though.
Maybe.
Andy's talking condescendingly to her because she used
but I don't think it's meant that way.
She used to always be smarter than him, but now she seems like he's taking care of her. Like she's got a degenerative disease of some sort. Like I don't know. Maybe we'll find that out. Maybe that's true. Maybe that's the case.
Yeah.
They just don't seem to have adjusted to time very well. Either way.
I did enjoy the bunny callback though. That was nice. But yeah, there's no music, and they have donuts and coffee, but none are consumed.
I really want one of those donut disturb signs for my my office now.
You should get one,
I'm sure they're all over the internet now. You can probably get them. So then we go to Jacoby.
I kind of like this.
You do?
I kind of do.
But I mean...
I know, it's another one of those long, drawn-out scenes, but I just keep picturing David Lynch doing this in his backyard.
Yeah.
And that just kind of made me
This is a total David Lynch, like, invention that he would have in his own...
Yeah.
It was kind of mesmerizing.
It is. I don't know if you guys have ever seen that documentary where they, like, about David Lynch, where they show him kind of, like, painting on this giant, like, 10-foot by 12-foot canvas, and he's like, bring me a pair of my old underpants, and then he just glues it on the canvas. Like that. Yeah, that's pretty delightful.
We're watching a clip from the sequel to Jiro Dreams of Sushi, Jacoby Dreams of Shovels.
I mean, everybody's made this observation, but yes, we are literally watching paint drying this scene.
And it's one of the better scenes.
Wait, I want to know what you guys think that he's going to do with those gold paint and shovels.
It has to be for some sort of groundbreaking ceremony, right?
I think
Maybe
it's like
he
a
supplies
defense mechanism. I think he's going to build, like, a fence with them.
a golden shovel fort?
Yeah, I think so. What else would it be for?
Maybe he's arming some sort of militia with golden shovels.
Oh my god.
I'd like to think he just has an Etsy shop now.
Yes.
Oh my god.
So then Jade drops Cooper off at the casino. No, he didn't ask to be taken here for sure, but did she say why she dropped him off here?
Maybe that's where he picked her up.
Maybe.
He was like, because, I don't know.
Maybe it's the closest inhabited place.
Obviously, you wouldn't call a hooker from your family home, you know?
Yes.
You're gonna do it at
Well,
some
Leland
other
did
place.
it.
Well, I suppose,
yeah.
but there wasn't, like, call tracing back then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, then he goes in and we say goodbye to Jade. She gives him $5.
So nice!
Yeah. Prostitute's paying him. And then I heard that the guy standing at the door is actually the actor from the Missing Pieces scene where Laura goes down on the trucker in his cab.
Oh.
It's a little bit of random casting trivia. And then, yeah, Coop goes in and he's...
I like that he gets stuck in the revolving doors.
Yeah. And then when he's walking across the floor, he's turned into Del Mibbler.
Yeah.
He moves the same way. He just shuffles along.
It's the slow march of time.
Wouldn't it be great if Del Mibbler was in the series?
Still alive.
He's in Coop somehow.
That would be so good.
So he sees he's just basically repeating what everyone tells him, and this somehow
Yeah.
gets him a couple of quarters, and then he mimics a guy and plays some slots. And he's drawn to this like little graphic above. What are you looking at me, Mel? What do you want to say?
No, nothing. I think you should let people talk about this scene.
Okay.
You guys have anything to say about this scene?
I mean, this is for me one of the highlights so far. Maybe more so in episode 4, but this whole sequence with the casino and Mr. Jackpots and everything is just hilarious.
Yes, I love his nickname, Mr. Jackpots.
And that old lady, it's just a classic like Lynchian. Are they from the post-apocalypse, or are they just old and poor character type?
When I first watched this, it was on my monitor, my TV monitor, computer monitor, which is kind of small. So I was having a hard time making out what those were. I was like, are those gnome hats? But it's just like a little pie-shaped slice of the Red Room, it looks like.
I prefer thinking they're nomads.
That's funny.
The Black Lodge gnome.
The Black Lodge gnome, Lucky Black Lodge gnome.
It's me, Lucky, the Black Lodge gnome.
Use this machine. This is a real winner. Okay.
Why? It's interesting to me that they would like help him win all this money. Like,
Yeah.
it's interesting that the Black Lodge is trying to help Cooper.
Are they
back
actively
into-
doing this, or is this just like a passive power that he has now?
I kind of think it's just like an electricity thing.
Maybe, yeah.
Now they did establish that it'll give anybody a jackpot, like who uses one of those machines, and it felt like there was a lot of jackpots ready to go.
Odds were.
Yeah, I couldn't tell. Was he causing them, or was his presence,
Increasing the odds. and everything.
inflating? Yeah.
Could be, yeah. I did like that homeless lady. Oh, I assume she's homeless. Maybe I shouldn't assume. I did like that lady wanting to steal his change, but then noticing the camera and flipping it off.
Yeah.
She's got spirit.
Yeah. A lot of verve.
We go to the FBI, and it's Gordon and Albert, and someone we come to know as TP, Brad. It's TP.
TP. TP.
What do you think of TP, Brad?
I mean, it's very unfortunate the way David Lynch uses her.
Agreed.
Tell me
Agreed, 100%.
I'm like, oh, David Lynch. Listen, David Lynch, you're already on the fence with me right now. Why are you being such a gross sexist douchebag?
Yes.
As a Gordon Cole lover, I was both pleased and disappointed with certain scenes in these two episodes.
Yeah.
There's some classic Gordon Cole, but there's also lecherous old man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think when I read The Secret History, and not that it gives a lot of characterization for who Tamara is, but because of that, you kind of fill in the blanks. And I knew, like, I was looking at the casting list, and I knew, like, Naomi Watts was in the show. A lot of people were saying, oh, that's probably this new FBI agent who would be, heading up the investigation. And I really, I don't want to see Naomi Watts as, like, Dougie's wife. I want to see Naomi Watts as, like, this strong, like, central figure, in this story. And Christabel, I mean, God bless her. I don't know what her music sounds like. I haven't heard it. I like her sense of style, but not really sure why she's taking what I'm assuming will be a prominent role in this season.
Mm-hmm.
But what you were saying about not wanting Naomi Watts to be Dougie's wife and just be like a side character, I feel like Dougie's wife is more of a character than TP at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was hoping she would get to make some asinine commentary, like in that book. Huh?
We went to the moon. Confirmed.
Huh? These dead people are covered in blood. That's pretty crazy. I'll have to make a note about that. We're in the room. You can make all the notes and comments you want.
Stop putting sticky notes on me.
Also, how about you show some more leg?
Oh, God. Because he totally would.
Yeah.
I like how they're trying to solve a random case, though, that involves photos of women, little boys, an Uzi, and a jar of beans.
Yeah. What the heck?
Like, somehow that's all going to make sense. There's enough here, guys. Get to work.
It's like a Pinterest board.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
So we get to see the victims of that vicious, crazy box creature. Their heads have been just ground down to little nubs. They basically have their lower jaws.
I felt like their brains looked like they were scooped out.
Yeah.
I couldn't quite tell. It was kind of a quick shot.
Like their heads were hard-boiled eggs, and they're just...
No, it just looked like an ice cream cone.
Oh.
Like an empty ice cream cone.
And for all those cameras and the amount of time that creature was there, they only caught one frame of it.
Yeah, I wish they had a frame of Cooper. Like, that would have been great.
Yeah.
But then it would have probably ruined the whole "we found Cooper."
Well, yeah, that came
'cause
moments later.
Yeah, but it's not the same
Yeah.
Cooper. It would have been obvious that there's another Cooper floating around, and they probably want to keep you on your toes about that. Will they or won't they discover the real Cooper?
Yeah.
You know?
If it had been captured a photo of him, they'd be like, "My God, that's Cooper! Gordon, there's Cooper's on the phone." What a coincidence!
It is interesting that in both season 2 and now in this storyline, Twin Peaks is a show where we're following FBI agents as they work on a case, but at least for there are these moments, these stretches where we, the audience, know we're several steps ahead of of Gordon and Albert at this point, which is when you know who killed Laura and Cooper doesn't. And I kind of wish they had strung that along for a few more episodes in the second season, and I'm kind of okay with this. I like that sort of tension, like you said, will they or won't they figure it out? When are they gonna put the pieces together? It's more dramatically interesting, I think, than just watching a typical kind of procedural.
And then they get a call. The lady says it's Cooper, but it's not. It's just about Cooper. And Gordon says that they got to go to the Black Hills of North Dakota, and I'm
South
sure.
Dakota.
Huh?
Wasn't it?
I thought they said North Dakota.
South Dakota.
Oh, never mind. I wrote it wrong. and I don't.
You're going to the wrong place.
And I don't know my geography. So yeah, I was like, Matt A's gonna squee again. Yankton made him squee. South Dakota, Black Hills.
I find the office decor weird, by the way. There's a picture of a nuclear explosion.
Yeah.
And a picture of some dude. I don't know.
Yeah, who is that? It's driving me crazy.
I know. He looks familiar.
I think if I remember reading correctly, there's a picture of Kafka. Is that?
Yeah,
Oh.
Franz Kafka.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Interesting.
I think so. Because I did.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Well, that's kind of random.
And then we go to the Roadhouse, and there's like an old-timey 50s style band, and I really like it.
Yeah, sweet.
They're called the Cactus Blossoms.
Cactus Blossoms, right. I like them.
You said they sounded like the Everly Brothers.
I was like, it's a modern-day Everly Brothers. Yeah. So that's the end of that episode. What did you guys think? Gary, do you have separate ratings for these episodes?
Sure. Yeah. Shall I go?
Yeah, you can go first.
Okay. Yeah, I was really happy to see some levity and comedy coming back into the fold. I felt confident we would get there after the first couple episodes that were so kind of like Red Room heavy. And it kind of show feels like it's kind of like feeling returning to a numb limb after it's fallen asleep. And I'm looking forward to the next couple episodes because I think we'll really be at full tilt. So I'm gonna give this 4 out of 5 numb left arms.
Cool. Brad, what do you think?
Yeah, it's hard for me to separate these at this point, but I'm concerned. I'm definitely concerned, more so than I was after the first 2 episodes.
Really?
Because I had a lot of hope for, like, I thought, you know, we're gonna get Cooper out of the lodge, and I thought there would be like maybe a tone shift in the series, and I am more concerned now because I don't know that I'm going to like the tone shift we're getting as much, because it's not Twin Peaks, and all the David Lynch scenes that are just, it's too much. There's no control. Like, David Lynch needs to be reined in. I was actually thinking the other day, like, maybe like 30 years from now, I kind of hope somebody remakes Twin Peaks. Because I'd like to get, if someone that, like, appreciated David Lynch style, but could also make something coherent and not as completely luxuriating in your own style to the point of detriment. Mm-hmm. I feel like there could be a better Twin Peaks made.
Well, you don't even have to remake it if that's what you want. There's enough, like, empty space on either side of every shot where you can just edit this one down.
Yes. But no, I really do. I think, like, there's so much good, but there's so much that's hampered by David Lynch, and it sucks because, like, without David Lynch, it's not great. Like, but also, like, with David Lynch uncontrolled, with no checks and balances, it's just kind of a mess, and it's not quite there. And it doesn't feel like Twin Peaks at all, and it doesn't even feel like it's tangentially connected. Like, we're kind of there, but I'm not. I'm worried. I'm worried at this point. So I'm gonna say 5 out of 10. 5 out of 10 lost shoes.
Okay. What about you, Mel?
I did like this episode better than the last 2. Mm-hmm. Probably because of mostly, like, the casino scene, you know, just, like, I enjoyed seeing Cooper kind of shuffle his way around and just, I don't know, try to survive in the real world after 25 years of being gone. That sort of gives me a little bit of hope, but if I'm speaking as if I haven't seen the next episode... So yeah, this episode did give me hope. Like, the first part, I didn't love, but I could kind of put up with it, just because Cooper finally got out. Mm-hmm. And that's, you know, that's what kind of, just, made me hopeful. Okay. So, anyways, I'm gonna give it 6.5 rides that Jade gave me.
Oh darn, you took my rating system.
Oh,
me
too. Oh, I'm not that creative.
No, none of us are.
I can switch it.
Do you have a new one, Caitlin?
I will come up with it on the fly.
Yeah.
Okay. So, by the end of episode 3, I was not quite ready to, I don't know, accept where it was going. I think it's just episode 3 was so much harder for me to watch than episodes 2 and 1. It was probably part of it was that like 20-minute long sequence at the beginning and the fact that nothing was making any sense at all. Dougie was a bit of a redeeming quality, and the FBI scenes, I guess having Gordon Cole and Albert back together gave me a bit more like interaction that I could actually like sink my teeth into. But it just was too much of a trudge to get through this episode. So I would give it 6 out of 10 Red Room's secret snippets of money. I don't know.
Okay. I like this episode better than the first two, except for that first scene, which I thought was the weakest point of everything I've seen so far. So I have a weird, awkward relationship with this episode where I love it and I also hate it. Just pieces of it. But if I disregard that very beginning part and just think about this episode, the rest of it, I feel good about it generally. I like seeing Gordon Cole, and it was good seeing Albert again.
Gordon Cole wasn't so perverty in this episode.
Not yet.
That's true.
And and the whole Dougie thing was very interesting. I thought that whole escape plan that Evil Coop had. I enjoyed Jade. I enjoyed Cooper at the casino. So I'll give it 7 out of 10 life-saving room keys. Alright, so let's move right into the fourth episode.
Just scrolling through like the video, I'm just like comparing 3 to 4. Like so much happens in episode 4, and so little happens in episode 3.
Mm-hmm.
That's funny.
Yeah, it's there's only a few set pieces. Like they take up large chunks of the episode. So episode 4.
I did take a lot more notes. I took like 1 page of notes for episode 3 and like 3 pages of notes for episode 4.
So episode 4, we open at the casino again, and Cooper is now known as Mr. Jackpots, which is delightful.
Like
and the owner says he's ruined. That guy looks familiar. Is he a comedian or something?
I don't know.
I think. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I think that old Cooper would have gotten a kick out of being called Mr. Jackpots.
Yeah,
I think so.
I'm undercover as Mr. Jackpots.
That should have been his like One-Eyed Jack's code name, Mr. Jackpots. I like the threatening way the casino manager tells him to come back anytime.
Yeah, when they're like. He's just mimicking him and he's staring him down, and they're like they push the money at each other.
I was surprised.
Go ahead.
Fight!
Confrontation.
It was like, do casinos have like loss insurance, or is it just a pure mathematical improbability of something like this happening that precludes it from being an issue?
I mean, back in the day, they had mafioso insurance.
Yeah, that helps.
I was surprised he didn't get like his legs broken or anything. Like,
they actually they really wanted him to take his money.
Yeah.
They're like, you're not gonna leave without your money, are you?
Well, maybe it's a liability thing.
So maybe, those cameras work both ways.
Yeah.
Keep them honest too.
Yeah, because I imagine if there was a guy that was like maybe either mentally impaired or having an issue, and like you didn't give him his money, you could probably get sued.
Yeah.
Bill Shaker is a guy who says he knows Dougie, and he runs into him. And he notices he's acting a little bit weird, but
Makes me so angry.
He doesn't call anyone. He doesn't seem too concerned.
This whole casino thing is so upsetting to me. I can't, I just feel so uncomfortable because I just imagine, like, oh God, what if I'm old and, like, have a stroke one day and, like, no one helps me? And I'm just wandering around, like, rambling, and I'm just, like, out of my mind, and there's no one to help. But it's terrifying.
What if you also win 30 mega jackpots?
And what if I don't even know because I had a stroke?
Can't enjoy
that was a source of anxiety, watching him win but not collect his coins. I'm like, no, don't
deal with it. It was so upsetting.
I mean, it's It's one of those things that, it seems completely over the top that nobody is caring more or paying more attention. But yeah, I mean, I kind of wonder, like, if this happened in real life, I think we might all be a little disappointed in humanity's ability to just kind of look the other way and be like, something weird is going on, but I don't want to get in the middle of it. Especially if Dougie is somebody who, imbibes. And
Like,
they're just going to be like, don't know about Dougie.
I've seen not dissimilar things happen, and it's not. No, it's upsetting. I can't. Nope.
So this is the second of 3 Bills we are introduced to in this series. We got Bill, what's his name? The murder suspect, Bill.
I don't remember.
From episode 1 and 2, Matthew Lillard's character.
Yeah, Bill Scooby-Doo.
Hastings.
Hastings, yeah.
Bill Hastings. Then we got Bill Shaker, and then later on, Gordon meets a Bill.
Williams are in favor of this episode or this season.
Oh, now it feels like X-Files.
But I mean, Twin Peaks has always used multiple characters with the same name for some reason, like Philip Jeffries and Philip Gerard and Mike and Bob and Bobby. And,
well, now it's Bill. Get used to it now.
Actually, I was listening to another podcast and they pointed out that Jade, that's a character from Invitation to Love. Jade and Emerald.
Yeah.
And even Dougie. I mean, Dougie is such a weird, specific kind of
Dougie.
pet name, and there's been 2 Dougies.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Dougie Milford. Yeah.
I would give anything for an Invitation to Love scene.
Well, maybe Jade's sister Emerald will show up at some point.
Oh, let's hope.
But as Bill's talking to Dougie, Dougie kind of gets interested in his hot dog. So this is the first clue that he's been neglecting his body's needs now that he's back in the real world.
I don't know how he hasn't soiled himself already.
I know, he holds it for so long, like all day and overnight and the next day.
It just all came out the other end in that Carmen Bozia.
Oh, he must have been dehydrated. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, he mentioned...
Maybe once he rehydrates, because apparently when you get dehydrated, you get your brain faculties don't work the same way.
Maybe he's just really dehydrated.
We just watched a video about that today,
Yeah.
about, dehydration.
Yeah, you kind of go insane if you go too long without water.
Yeah.
Maybe he just dehydrated in the Black Lodge.
I mean, 25 years without water. That's
All you got is like Garmin Bozia. That's not enough to sustain you.
coffee that's sometimes solid.
Sometimes molasses.
Yeah. So he eventually, through just weird happenstance, makes it out of there on his way home in a limo. And which is in Lancelot Court near Merlin's Market. Some more King Arthur references.
I thought for a taste that this driver was Matt Paxton from Hoarders, because he looks just like the cleaning guy from Hoarders, Matt Paxton. I was very upset when I found out it wasn't.
Oh man, it would have been awesome if he did take a cab, but it was the cash cab. Cooper gets in the cash cab, wins even more money.
That'd be awesome.
So yeah, he's dropped off, and the driver just stands there with him again, not noticing that there's something wrong with this guy. Please help him. Like you scared him when you came around his side of the door. For God's sake.
Aw, that was adorable.
That was pretty great. And an hour flies by.
Oh, finally!
Yeah,
Yeah.
Were you guys excited too? Yeah.
very excited.
Yes. I'll take whatever I can get. Just give me something.
Yeah, it's just Bob doing a little checkup on Coop.
Yeah.
So yeah, what did you guys all think of Dougie's home and his wife?
Perplexing?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I tried to use the situation to kind of like back project and figure out what Dougie would have been like before, or what Dougie was actually like, and I just like couldn't get to like a clear solution, or situation. I mean,
again, that's kind of why I think he must just be zonked out all the time. Like, I don't know if he's popping pills or what, but that's the only thing that makes sense.
it sounds like he's a deadbeat dad a little bit. I don't know. Like, she's not completely surprised that he missed Sonny Jim's birthday. Like, That's a name that you like mockingly say to a child. Come here, Sonny Jim. You know.
Well, it's Sonny Jim Jones. Jim Jones.
Yes.
Oh, God.
and she's credited as
Janie.
Janie E.
Yeah.
Yeah, Janie E. Jones.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So this might be a little bit of leading you into the bushes here, but I'm gonna just say this is what it made me think of. A lot of people compare. Yeah, a lot of people compare. You know, like Lynch to like some of the famous bad filmmakers that are out there today. Like who's the guy who did
Tommy Wiseau.
Fateful Findings, or Tommy Wiseau. And it's true. There's like this weird kind of, they have this similar kind of like sense of like, oh, a space alien is making a movie about life on Earth,
Yeah.
And there's that guy in the room who like is trying to take Danny's money, Chris R, and his name is written Chris-R. And it reminded me so much of Gianni-E. I'm like, how do these two like, nobody on planet Earth is named that, yet both of these movies feature prominent supporting characters with this they're named like they're rappers from the 90s or something.
Yeah. Yeah, Dougie's his license plate is spelled that way too, like Duge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dougie Fresh.
Yeah. He's such an interesting character, and we'll hope we hear more about the original Dougie.
I really feel that Naomi Watts is wasted in this role, though.
Yeah?
Personally.
What if this becomes a main character?
Yeah, I think she's pretty good
Yeah.
so far.
No.
I mean,
Maybe Cooper, if he gets his mind back, will treat her like his actual wife, and then she'll just come with him to Twin Peaks on all their adventures.
She could
I'd
be
be
his,
okay with that.
yeah, she could be his like sidekick.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're gonna do with that kid, but
I think it's just as likely that she becomes a main character of this show than we spend more than 15 minutes in Twin Peaks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I just don't really like her character.
no.
No, not really.
I was a little concerned at how excited she was by all the money that Dougie had brought home, as if she had like some secret debt or something she needed to pay off.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think it's secret. I think like
Oh, yeah,
they
okay.
both like she knows of his debt, or maybe it's her debt, but they both know of the debt and the trouble they're in.
Was this was it the first episode or the second episode where we have the guy that's talking about Vegas and debts or something? Is that all?
Yeah, it was the first episode, I think.
Might have been part 2 of that first batch.
It was the guy in New York.
Yeah.
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 I meant to go back and look at that, but don't know if that's all tied up.
And then we go to a place that probably a lot of people were probably surprised we'd be going, where Gordon Cole goes to meet Denise.
Oh, but before that,
What?
we straight up we meet
Bill?
God, what's he? Yeah, Bill. Richard Chamberlain.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my god. Really? No.
Yeah,
What?
Who's Richard
I
Chamberlain
thought he
again?
I thought he died.
he did not die.
What's he
Isn't
been in?
Richard Chamberlain from Shogun, Matt?
Yes.
Yeah, Matt.
Oh,
Richard
really?
Chamberlain.
Like, he's the main
I had
guy?
no idea that was Richard.
Yeah.
I thought he had died.
Oh.
Oh, I guess I was wrong. Wow, that's crazy. You just blew my mind, Brad.
I know. I'm like, whoa. Shogun is straight up in Twin Peaks for half a second. And then we could have spent more time with him, but fucking David Duchovny came into the fucking scene and ruined everything as usual.
Didn't you enjoy Duchovny in the original Denise role?
Yes, I think this is the only good role he's ever played, but I'm very bitter because I've had to watch a lot of X-Files, which is
really sad.
garbage. And I would watch that first 20 minutes of episode 3 of this new Twin Peaks 1,000 times before I would ever watch a second of that X-Files.
So what'd you think of Denise 25 years later, Gary?
Yeah, I mean, Twin Peaks is a show written by 2 old white guys, and so obviously, I was very curious to see what they would do with this character, and it felt like a little, maybe a little on the nose, like a little too much like, oh, we're patting ourselves on the back.
Yes.
But it was nice. It was a nice, like, reunion, and, Gordon got like his little speech in, which I thought was nice. I hope that that's not all we see of Denise. I want to see all these FBI people like doing FBI stuff, But if it's the one and done, then yeah, at least we got a shout out.
It feels like this is the last we're gonna see of her. I don't know why, but
Yeah.
But yeah, what you said is exactly how I feel. It feels like he's patting himself on the back a little bit for being like, I was one of the first people to have a positive attitude towards trans people. But he also dead drops her name, her original name, right away. Like, hey, you used to be Dennis. Yeah.
Oh.
It's really fucked up. Like because he also says at one point, I had enough dirt on you to like ruin your life or something.
Yeah.
He's like, but I didn't. It's like, oh, cool. So you've got a trans friend. Cool. Great.
And
Cooper,
also, like,
fuck you. I mean, Cole, fuck you. You're the worst.
You know what I really hate about this scene is the fact that he's like he does seem supportive, somewhat. But then when Denise starts talking about her hormones whacking, like putting her out of whack, he's like, no, don't want to hear about that.
Gross.
But the fact that Denise apologizes, I'm like, don't apologize. Like, he didn't. You didn't even say anything when he was like talking about macking on girls under 30. Like, he should be apologizing for that, but he's not.
He's like, I'm not gonna apologize. I'm old school. I'm allowed to do that.
Oh, this is that entitlement. Like,
this is the most entitled old white dude scene ever.
It just makes me sad because I love Gordon Cole. But...
yeah, I did like what he said, but then the rest of it I was like, no, don't like the rest of it.
Yeah.
I mean, overall the idea in the scene is fine. It's just how it was done.
Yeah.
I'm not. What is he even here for? Just to get her permission to go? Because she's his boss now?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
She's come up. I'm glad that she's his boss instead of he's her boss now.
She wasn't.
And I was confused by one point, which was that in the original show she's a part of the DEA, but here the FBI. But then they sort of seem to retcon that a little bit by saying when I had you working in the. So are we to take that like she was an FBI mole inside the DEA or something, like on internal affairs?
That's what I think that was the case.
Maybe.
Convoluted.
I
could have been a loner agent.
I feel like I remember us like making fun of that because it makes no sense that she's a secret FBI agent in the DEA.
I don't know. Maybe she just transferred to the FBI after a while. I don't know.
Yeah,
Listen,
I think
man,
that makes
it's the deep state. It's the deep state, and they're gonna get Trump next.
Whoa.
The other thing I didn't like about this scene too is how they kept talking about how beautiful Tamara Preston is. I'm like, do you keep like you don't? What are you trying to do here?
She's
like,
only worth her beauty, or
yeah, no, it's just that like I feel like they're just like trying to like flatter Krista Bell a lot. I don't know.
It just felt like
because she's playing an object, and that's all.
Yeah, I don't like it.
No.
Yeah, it just felt like whenever Harry Truman would talk about Josie,
She's so beautiful.
she's so beautiful. Okay, so then we go back to Twin Peaks. Yay!
Hurrah!
And Lucy doesn't know how thermostats work now. And she's talking to the sheriff on the phone, and then she screams when he comes in because she doesn't know how cell phones work.
Gas leak.
It's great.
Yeah, or back to that other, one of you proposed.
Gangs on PCP.
Because Andy said he's like, I've explained this to you so many times, I don't understand why you don't get it. So.
Yeah.
I love this.
So.
And only because of the Andy scene. Because when he's like, I don't understand. You're so good at your job, but you can't figure this one thing out. It's so great.
I mean, it's been like, I'm sure cell phones have been around, like, they've been ubiquitous for at least a decade, and if not 15 years. Mm-hmm. And they were even around in the original series. Ernie Niles had one. But this actually feels a lot like the Missing Pieces scene where Andy and Harry are downstairs, and she's talking to them over the intercom, and then they go upstairs, and she thinks she's still talking to them down there, and they scare her. Like, it's basically the same
It's like
thing.
that times 10, yeah.
Yeah, it's that times 10. Yeah. Actually, this whole series feels like The Missing Pieces, doesn't it? It feels
Yeah.
like it's just a bunch
True,
of scenes
actually.
edited together, not really cohesive fully, lots of silence, people staring at things, no music. It's very, very similar to The Missing Pieces.
Well, that was, when I was watching The Missing Pieces the first time, a few years ago whenever they came out, it was interesting to watch it through the lens of, like, being like, okay, if David Lynch decided to make more Twin Peaks, what would it look like? Because this was old camera negative, but obviously they were cutting it like today, and they were the music choices, the lack of the overt score, even like that scene where Laura is looking up at the fan and her face kind of like slowly turns into this rictus grin, which I'm assuming was like a modern computer effect that they were just like subtly warping the footage a little bit. Like,
oh, really? You don't think she can do that crazy grin in real life?
Yeah, I don't know. It started to look like that Soundgarden video for Black Hole Sun. Yeah, so you're right. Like, it very much, I think that was kind of like a preview of coming attractions in a way.
Maybe. But yeah, then we're introduced to the new Sheriff Truman. Presumably Frank Truman, Harry's brother. What do you guys think of him?
He's great.
Yeah, he's a competent guy, it seems.
I think he's going to work out better than Harry.
Yeah.
I mean, I like Harry, but this guy seems more on the ball.
He won't have shouting fits.
Yeah. And he's one of those characters we said who feels like a real person observing all this strangeness and not getting it.
Yeah.
We find out that there's a whole back room full of tech and a real dispatcher and like actual people doing police work. And,
They're a room they never allow Lucy in.
Yeah. It's just
Maybe. Yeah, is this a new edition? Was it there all along?
Yeah.
No.
This to me, this feels like a Department of Homeland Security money, post 9/11. Like every little town in America got their, like tank or whatever, and I feel like this is where all of Twin Peaks DHS money went.
Yeah. But this is the point at which it feels like the show is really picking on Andy and Lucy and even Hawk a little bit, making them seem like they're just the old guard that's kept around. They got they got to keep their jobs, but they're no longer relevant. They don't know how things work. The real action happens back here, and it just feels like that. It feels like a little bit mean to those characters.
Well, they did let Andy go out to that. They said the kid that overdosed.
Oh, did they send Andy to that?
Yeah, they sent Andy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, that's good.
You think the show's picking on Hawk? I feel like the show's setting up this very cleaved kind of like divide between him and Andy and Lucy.
I felt like that in the first two episodes, but in the previous episode, he was part of that scene where it seemed like they were all so slow and they couldn't think properly. And
that's why
maybe
that.
Yeah.
It just kind of reads like he's so befuddled and so confused by Lucy that it's like it's making him stupid because he just can't. He's like, wait, am I missing something? Like, is this possible?
yeah.
I can see that definitely happening. Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping some of these cops are just fodder for owls, and they're just gonna get picked off.
Maybe Chad will get picked off.
Definitely, Chad's going down. Come on,
He's a red shirt, total red shirt.
Yeah. Stupid Chet.
Chad,
that's
not Chad.
No, it's Chet, isn't it?
I thought is it?
I'm pretty sure.
I thought it was Chad.
Either way.
Yeah. Fuck him.
Chad Desmond too.
Oh yeah, that's another double name. Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the scene from the previous episode with Hawk saying like, "It's not about the bunnies. Is it the bunnies?" It felt a lot like the scene where Mike shot that guy in the woods and like, "You killed Mike. It's not Mike. Is it Mike?" So speaking of Bobby, what?
Oh no!
What? No.
You don't want this for him?
Listen, he's the most industrious young man that ever lived.
Yeah.
He could have. He should have been running like the fucking Great Northern, or like he's not a cop. He's so much more than that.
Maybe this is a facade. Like, he's actually that billionaire who's funding this experiment.
I hope so. It's like Steve Seagal, like pretending to be a cop, because he's just a rich asshole.
But it seems like they're taking his former experience and using it like he's like on the drug traffic side of things.
Yeah.
Like he has to check out all the drug routes that he used to use himself.
Bobby never had any follow through. He wanted to be industrious, but it wasn't gonna last.
He was a kid. He was a kid. He did so much. He did so much as a kid. He had so much potential.
Yeah. Maybe he just completely fell apart, because his reaction to seeing Laura's picture was just way over the top.
Well, do we know? And when would Major Briggs have been killed? Like, if we take the inference in Secret History, wouldn't have been that long after the original series, right?
Yeah, it feels like it was within the week of Cooper being replaced by Doppelganger.
So I feel like maybe Bobby just, without that guidance, didn't, never left town.
Maybe.
It hurts.
I agree with you, Caitlin, though. It was like a really extreme reaction for Bobby to see Laura's picture. It was like, wow, like he's almost too upset by this.
Yeah, it was almost as if he may have been high himself, too.
There was something off about it, but I can't tell what it is.
I look, because I thought for a second, I was like, okay, now we're going into soap opera mode, because we got the music, we got the over the top crying. I was like, what if there's just music for the rest of the series now, and like we're in Twin Peaks?
Maybe.
I'm so hopeful, guys. I'm so hopeful.
Yeah.
We're getting glimpses of it now and then.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm not sure if it's what's the actor's name?
What, Bobby?
Yeah.
Dana Ashbrook?
Dana Ashbrook. I'm not sure if it's Dana Ashbrook's acting, like if he's just not good at crying, or if it's the directing, or the way it's edited. But I mean, he like in the in the original series, he cried a couple times. The time he cried in Jacoby's office, it was a lot like this one, where it felt a little bit odd, and I thought maybe
but it
was
didn't
just
feel
bad acting.
this odd.
And then the time where he cried when he was listening to the dream that his father had for him, that was really good. But I think I remember reading an interview that Don Davis coached him through that. Like, so he had the benefit of a fellow actor there.
I think the reason that it was so awkward was because everybody was in the room looking at this really personal moment, and he didn't even turn away or didn't try to like excuse me for a minute.
He should have excused himself. Yeah.
Maybe, or something. I don't know. I'm like, or something like, I don't know. I know you're like, you'd be overtaken by emotion or whatever, like, but it's just, I feel like it was just so unabashed, I guess. It was just like really out there, and maybe we're not used to seeing a grown man cry so openly like that.
It's also a really weird scene, because it feels like that there should be a cut scene there. Because, like, he sees the picture, like, he starts the crying, the music comes in full force, like, he's crying, but then the scene's still going on. And he has to pull back from that, which is something you don't usually do, because it's weird.
Yeah.
Like, the scene just goes on. It's like we took a little break for him to have a full-out soap opera freak-out, but never left the scene.
But it's like, nobody even asks him if he's okay or anything. They're just like, let's just move on. Who cares?
Oh, he's crying. All right.
All right, let's...
Well, it feels, to me a little bit like this is Bobby waking up from a 25-year dream, that he's gone on and had this other life, and then just seeing that photo kind of brings it all back in a flood. And it's very heightened, but, that's the show has always sort of had those moments of heightened lunacy.
It still feels like Bobby to me. It still feels like Dana Ashbrook has a handle on his character. But,
yeah.
Who's doing lawn work?
I'm sorry. Let me see if I can remedy that.
Okay.
Or someone's cutting down a tree. No, Douglas firs.
Okay, so then the next scene, some kid named Wally shows up.
Some kid.
Some kid.
Some punk
He's
kid.
Lucy and Andy's son. All right, taking bets. Who's the real father? Andy or Dick Tremaine?
Yeah, I hadn't thought about that. Good question. Okay.
I wish it was Dick Germain, but no. No, I don't think so.
You think he's definitely Andy's kid, for real? It's hard to tell. He
I don't
doesn't
know.
really act like any of the three possible...
Well, he's his own person.
Yeah, he looks like he has his own style. I don't know. I'm actually
No,
gunning
wait,
for
he's-
Dick Germain.
He's not his own person. Sorry,
No,
I shouldn't
yeah.
have said that.
He's the last thing he is.
He's
No.
He's the result of a Marlon Brando sperm donor.
Oh my god.
Oh,
What'd you think? What'd you
this
think of
scene.
him in the scene? Gary, what do you think?
I don't. It's a weird scene.
Yeah, to me, this was sort of the one moment where I really sort of agree with the idea of what's the word? Extravagance for extravagance's sake. This went on for way longer than it needed to, and I don't know. I just don't really care. It was kind of funny, but I just really don't care.
Yeah, I have no problems with the character. It's just, yeah, not too long. It would have been funny if it was in a smaller chunk.
When you thought he was done talking, you just kept going on.
Yeah. You thought it was going to be one of those things where it's funny, then awkward, then funny again, but it never came around.
No.
I think it's like, I remember when I was watching, I was like, this is too much, this is painful, this is going on too long. But just thinking about it, it's amazing. Like, I love it so much in theory.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I bet Michael Cera had like a great time playing that role.
Oh, how could you not?
I do like the idea that he's kind of like a parody of a very specific type of male character that shows up on the show that you really don't see elsewhere, which is like the tough guy, either like bad boy, good boy, or just
Marlon
bad
Brando.
boy, who's actually just really limp and uncool. And that's the thing, is like Marlon Brando was like cool, but like Hank was never cool. James was never cool. I'm sorry, Shelley. And you know, I think like this is maybe you can read it as like a pastiche of that if you're being generous.
Well, he's dressed exactly like Marlon Brando in The Wild Ones.
Yeah.
There's like a picture comparison online. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
The monogram jacket.
Yeah.
It's just it's such a weird idea, and I love it so much.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, I love the idea. I love. It's just too.
Yeah.
I did enjoy.
He's a fan of it.
Yeah. I did enjoy that Truman agreed with us, and he shook his head when he walked away.
You know what would have been funny is if this would have been James coming back from a long motorcycle ride, and he thought he was Marlon Brando all of a sudden.
Yes.
I'm kind of hoping James takes this kid under his wing and teaches.
Oh yes.
Oh yes.
That would be amazing. Yeah, they could trade like motorcycle secrets.
Yeah, they gotta have a ride together at some point. I can't wait to see that.
Oh, that, you know what? That's the James scene I've been waiting for. James Hurley, I want to thank you for taking me on this ride today. If I can ever repay this favor for you.
I could get you a good deal on a monogram jacket.
Oh my god, they wear like matching monogram jackets.
Yes.
They could start a club. Oh.
So then we cut back to Coop, and he doesn't know how to get dressed, and his wife doesn't find this strange at all.
The fact that he doesn't, like, he's like, I gotta pee, and he's holding it in, and he's like a toddler.
you silly goose. You silly goose.
He's a toddler.
You're so silly.
She walks him to the bathroom, so she knows that she understands the idea that he can't figure out how to get to the bathroom. Does she just think he's so drunk he doesn't know how to walk to a bathroom?
I don't know.
Like, at that point, and I don't even know why she's so patient with it. Like, I suppose she's
'Cause of
putting
all
up
the
with it because
money.
of all the money, but
Yeah.
even so, like, I don't know, I'd just be like, oh.
I'm sticking with my theory, you guys.
You do that, Gary.
So I kind of like how he can just see into the red room whenever he wants now. Almost, it seems. Or maybe maybe the red room decides when he sees them. But he doesn't have to be there to communicate with the red room. And he's told he was tricked, and now one of them must die. Which, that didn't need to be said. we could have guessed that, there was going to be a confrontation. And
The Red Room has been guilty of that a lot, though, this season. Just of, like, over-explaining things. Yeah.
He sees his reflection, and he looks at it for a moment. I'm just wondering if he's noticing his age, how he doesn't look how he thinks he should, or if he's I don't know.
Oh, and Dougie, you lost weight within 3 days. How did that happen? Huh? So odd.
Sunday Jensen is hilarious.
It's probably normal though. Yeah,
Okay.
I just hate this guy's style.
I was wishing that when he got coffee that we would be done with this Dougie stroke victim.
Mhm.
Yeah. For a second, I thought it would just bring Coop back to who he was.
Yeah.
Because now I'm worried, like, what's going on? Is there more to it that he's not all there? Is that part of this thing? If so, how does that get resolved?
Maybe when one of them dies. I don't know. Maybe he can't get his full smarts till Evil Coop is dead.
Did you guys notice too? Like later on, Evil Coop didn't seem quite right either in the head. Like, he seemed a little off.
Yeah, seems like he lost a little bit of his humanity.
Yeah, something.
He was acting a lot like he did in the mirror, or
Mhm.
when we say, I have to brush my teeth, that whole thing.
Right.
Maybe it's like both of them kind of existing in the same plane. It's like they're both operating at the same frequency, and so their waves are like deconstructing
They're like
each other.
Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
One of them's the microwave.
But if that's the case, then that means, like, because I think the idea of regular Coop versus evil Coop is like a pretty cool dramatic storyline. But if it's always going to be a 75% evil Coop and 25% Dougie, like, this is not something I want to watch.
The throwdown for the
See it
ages.
varying from like 0 to 100.
Yeah.
I mean, the coffee changes him a little bit in that he says hi or something like that, and that's the first thing he said that isn't a repeat of something someone else said.
Sure.
Yeah.
He's still not acting like a normal person.
No.
I just want, like, I want real Coop to get on the scene and start tracking down some Black Lodge monsters.
Yeah, and bring along Dougie's wife as his sidekick.
And I want Nadine and Mike to help.
They're bound to show up at some point.
I will be totally okay with the sorely missing Angelo Badalamenti music in scenes like this if the moment when Cooper's finally himself puts on his own suit and tie, gets in a car, and drives to Twin Peaks, and we hear the theme music outside of the opening credits, and then that if that's the final cherry on the pie, then scenes like this will make sense. But if not, it's gonna feel like a real oversight.
I'm just terrified that scene's gonna happen, but that's going to be in the last 5 minutes.
Yeah. That's like a Star Trek Voyager thing where you spend 7 seasons waiting for them to get home, and then the last shot is their ship flying to the planet.
Guys, I don't want to scare anybody, but this series is called Twin Peaks: The Return. What if we don't get there till the very end?
And then the next season is called Twin Peaks For Real This Time.
But it's just all about supernating.
Yeah.
Sold.
And Evelyn Marsh.
Sold. I'll
I
take
do
it.
love supernating.
She's the best.
Great.
Okay, and then we go to Buckhorn for just a second. Back to Buckhorn. They got some prints from the male dead body that had the female's head on it, and they're blocked out by the military for some reason. I've seen people speculating that maybe the body is Briggs's body, and I was like, that's sad if that's true.
Yeah,
Please
I
don't
hope
be
not.
Briggs's body.
No.
Yeah.
That's kind of...
For one thing, he apparently died 25 years ago.
Yeah.
How are you even keeping that thing fresh?
Aliens.
Aliens.
But
Alien
yeah,
tech.
the prints are blocked by the military.
Yeah.
Then we go to an airport, and the agents are picked up, and we get some classic Gordon in the car.
Yeah.
Mishearing things, being delighted by little things.
This was good.
I love I love that he's so disappointed that he doesn't get to see Mount Rushmore, but Albert's ready with the photo, and that's good enough.
Yeah, that was awesome.
There they are, Albert. Faces of stone. Okay. Love it. And I love the entire mishearing where he's like, what's wrong with her? She gets car sick. Albert, Cossacks are in Russia. Car sick! And then the guy almost crashes the car. You need to pull over. It's comedy gold, I tell you. So they go to see Coop, and in his car was found some cocaine, a machine gun, and a dog leg. It feels like they could solve some other case with this. Just lay it on the table in the FBI headquarters again.
Definitely.
And what did you think when they were talking to Coop?
This scene with Coop is probably the highlight for me of the whole season so far.
Why is that?
The way it's the mood, the way it's lit, the way it's performed, the voice modulation on Cooper is super creepy and effective. And this is that scene that I mentioned a while ago where it's like, 5 or 6 years ago, like every movie had to have a scene where the bad guy gets captured and interrogated. Like every movie after The Dark Knight had to do some version of that. But this was, I don't know, just played so well that it wasn't even until the second time that I watched it that I remembered, oh yeah, this is kind of a trope. I've seen this before, because it feels like when it was announced that there was going to be new episodes, like this is what I wanted to see. I wanted to see like bad Coop, like being creepy and doing bad things. I wanted to see Kyle MacLachlan, have that range where he could play all these different characters, and that's one thing they've certainly been giving him a lot to do this season. So, and I think as a foil to Cole too, like it's really kind of I think Gordon Cole is like a more fleshed out character in this episode than he has been at any other point, just in terms of the range and the sense of being in over his head, and not just being the guy who kind of shouts for comic relief. It's all really good stuff.
Yeah, I think David Lynch is doing a really good job with acting. Like I'm pretty impressed, and I also like how he is the author of this whole thing and his character doesn't understand it.
Yeah.
Oh, and did you guys all hear about the thing that people picked up where Coop did a little backwards line here?
No.
Yeah, he says throughout the whole thing he's repeating lines. He's like, a long, long time and very, very good to see you and stuff like that. One of those times he says very backwards. He goes, "You're very, very good to see you."
Nice.
Yeah, and so people have taken that and flipped it around, and yeah, very backwards. Just let a little Black Lodge slip out.
Whoops.
Apparently it was Kyle MacLachlan's idea to wear black contacts in these scenes, and that as a little touch, like I like that, it, especially in like scenes like this, it just does so much to like strip him of any kind of like soul. It's pretty cool.
So, does anybody else have any thoughts about this scene?
I like how dark it is. Like this and the following scene. Like it's just so like it's like ugh.
Yeah, there's a lot of talk of Philip Jeffries again.
Yeah.
Claims to be working undercover with Philip Jeffries, and there's a little deception from Albert here that he never, or maybe not deception, but something he never told Gordon that Coop kind of reveals that they talk about after, where Philip got in contact with Albert saying Coop was in trouble and needed some information, and Albert gave him this information, and then a week later one of their undercover agents died, presumably because of it. And I'm not sure why Albert wouldn't bring that to Gordon, like why he would do that. But Gordon seemed very disappointed. Like he stared at him for so long and said, Albert. Like he was like deciding if he wanted to just murder him right there. I don't know.
The sound design in that moment I thought was really cool too. How it kind of brought you into Gordon's headspace a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I like Evil Coop's excuses that he gives. Like, I was about to come see you. Car veered off the road.
Yeah.
Really, I was just about to visit you. It sounds like excuses that like a bad boyfriend would give.
There's like something really like unnerving about someone giving a really piss poor excuse, but like not doing it in the nervous like kind of way, but just that kind of measured, like unaware of how crazy they sound kind of way. It's good.
Baby, it's cool, baby. I was on my way over. I'm just 25 years late.
Gordon says the Coop didn't greet him properly, but he did give him thumbs up. I don't know. There's 5 thumbs up in this episode.
I figured that line was about the Yarav very thing.
Yeah.
Because it's the first thing he says to him. It's Yarav, very good to see you. So maybe Cooper or Gordon picks up on the subtlety of that.
It's one of those weird like Gordon Cole code things. Like firewalk with me.
He didn't call me a chihuahua. Yeah, we also get the thing where they dismiss Tammy
Yeah.
As a person.
What?
as a person. But she's also, like, this is not just them, like, she's also, like, milking this thing where she's, like, walking with a ridiculous swagger.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you mean
Yes.
the director David Lynch directed this woman to be a sex object?
Yes.
In the scene where they comment on her as a sex object, featuring David Lynch, the actor and director?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that could be his direction, yeah, that's true.
This is all David Lynch.
I just don't like the way she reacts either, like just like a child that's being punished.
Yeah.
I mean, I have to go to the restaurant. It's like, what? Like, come on. You can do better.
Yeah.
And also think about this. Gordon Cole also left Shelley alone in Twin Peaks with those children to raise.
Oh no.
They're his kid. They're his. They're definitely his.
Which kids?
Like her child
Oh,
that she
Becky?
was talking about. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I hope Becky has hearing problems.
That would be so great.
She can only hear Shelley.
Yeah. Well, that'd be useful.
Yeah.
You'd still be able to parent your kid.
Yeah.
So they both suspect it's a Blue Rose case, and they need to find a lady to take a look at Coop. And the prevailing theory is that this is going to be Diane, which makes sense. Diane should know Cooper intimately.
Well, why is Diane hanging out in Twin Peaks at the Bang Bang Bar?
That's
That might be throwing us off.
Yeah, that's why I wasn't sure. Like, he said, I know where she drinks, and we cut to the Bang Bang Bar. But I'm not sure if that was literal, like, hey, this is where she is.
Yeah, perhaps.
Yeah.
It might be,
I mean,
but...
I am not a big fan of unmasking unseen characters, so I kind of really hope it's not.
I hope it is. Who do you hope it is?
Yeah, I don't know who it would be. Would it be, maybe, Audrey?
Well, how would they know about Audrey, though?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, people have suggested other Twin Peaks characters, but I'm like, why would the FBI know about any of these people? The only person it makes sense for them to talk about is Diane.
Unless they only ever see, like, if they do show Diane, they should only ever show the back of her head.
Back of Laura Dern's head, the whole show.
I think it's going to be Laura Dern?
Yeah.
If the FBI were doing their job at all, I think that they would have come to know, like, the people in Twin Peaks and who Coop interacted with, because they
would they remember that 25 years later?
Yeah, they definitely talk about her, like...
I think Annie's a possibility, because I feel like Annie would have, like, pestered the FBI to be like, hey, go find him. He's locked in a creepy, spooky place.
Yeah.
But didn't Annie get written out of the Twin Peaks book?
It seemed like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seemed like Annie was retconned.
Yeah.
But she can't be completely retconned, though, because I feel like this movie is definitely, or this show is acknowledging so much of Firewalk with Me. So either we're going to get some sort of multiverse explanation, or I don't know, it'll just be left this weird ambiguous
just
gray area. Yeah.
More evidence for Brad's David Lynch shared universe.
Yeah.
The David Lynch cinematic universe. So yeah, we end at the Roadhouse again, and it's 3 ladies with keyboards. I like them too.
Au revoir, Simone.
Au revoir, Simone is the name
Yeah.
Yeah.
of the band.
I'm
Okay.
just making it really French. It's probably au revoir, Simone.
Hey, wow.
Arrivederci.
Arrivederci. Sorry, the Annie thing really bugs me because why, he went in the Black Lodge for Annie.
Mm-hmm.
He wouldn't have
Yeah.
gone in there otherwise. So to remove her from the show entirely is just upsetting.
Well, it's not confirmed that she's been removed, but
Yeah.
I don't
But I'm
think
just
you
saying
can.
if that's
Yeah.
what it is, yeah.
I just
Just-
don't understand.
I mean, they had her pop up in Fire Walk with Me. Like, if David Lynch had been like, nope, done with her, no thank you. I'd been like, all right, but like, if you're gonna use her in the movie, like, you can bring her back.
I just don't understand why the book would make no mention of her and retcon her family's history.
Because the book's garbage.
But a lot of it seems to be relevant to the new show, so.
I mean, my obvious theory would be, oh well, the documents in the book were changed to protect her identity or something like that. But
Then why do we waste our time reading this book for
Well, yeah.
facts?
and the other thing that's weird about that is it's like she's not in the cast list, and do we really think that they would be keeping that a secret? I don't know. That seems like a stretch to me.
Yeah.
So I don't expect to see her show up, but I also feel like they can't just not address that dangling plot thread.
Alright, so we want to rate this one too? Mel, do you have a rating ready?
Not yet, no.
Okay. What about you, Brad?
Yeah, this one, there's more things happening. There's a lot of fun things. I love Lucy not understanding cell phones. Purely because of Andy's line. I don't love Bobby Briggs being a cop, but I do love him crying. I love Michael Cera in theory, though I know if I watched it again, it wouldn't be as enjoyable as it is in my head. Yeah, I don't know. It's more entertaining. I definitely don't enjoy David Lynch being a real fucking creep. And making a woman a literal object. So, don't like that. But there's more things happening. There's plot. There's story happening. It's still not the show I wish it was, but this is a show I can get behind. So, I'll say 6.5 out of 10 unnecessary David Duchovnys. AKA all David Duchovnys.
Oh. What about you, Caitlin?
I ended this episode wanting it to continue. I just wanted to jump right into the next episode. So I think overall, I really liked it, mostly because, as Brad was saying, there's some plot and some story going on there, some mystery to get your head around, which I really liked. And yeah, I wasn't a fan of Bobby so much either. I'd like to see him in a bit more dynamic situation maybe coming up. Hopefully we can get more of him. And yeah, but I'd say I give it a 7.5 out of 10. But you told me to wear a wire. Yeah.
Gary?
Well, I think what we have now 4 hours in is kind of an embarrassment of riches. It's a buffet of stuff to pick over, and yeah, there's some shall we say not quite ripe ideas in that buffet, but there's also just so much good stuff and weird, interesting stuff. I'm gonna give this one 8 out of 10 dog legs in an evidence bag.
I like this episode slightly better than the previous episode. I don't mind Bobby as a cop. I kind of like that he turned his life around, good at all the crime, just like his dad wanted for him, hopefully living a life of fulfillment and happiness. But that's probably not the case. Who am I kidding? I loved all the classic Gordon Cole stuff, but I hated all the dirty old man Gordon Cole stuff. So I'm very conflicted on that. I mean, it's like when he says stuff like, I think you should give him his private phone call, and I will expect to hear all about it. Like, that's...
Yeah.
I love that character. But He's making it difficult for me, so I hope he stops doing that.
Matt, you're gonna have to like have a moment so you can have all your Gordon Cole quotes put in.
Save them all up. I'll give it a 7.5 out of 10. Old school, dirty old men.
All right. Yeah, like when I think about it, like I was like saying how I didn't like this episode as much, but I think it's because it made me so angry. Like Tamara Preston made me angry, Gordon Cole made me angry, Dougie's wife made me angry from not realizing what's like that there's something wrong, like just like it's just, and that the Cooper not waking up from this craziness. It's just starting to get to me, so I'm hoping that maybe next episode will be moving along a little bit more. So I'm gonna give it 6 out of 10 faces of stone!
Cool.
Also, I don't know if we're doing quotes or not, but I really do like the exchange with Richard Chamberlain, where he's like, where's Paul now? Paul's in the North Pole. Well, there you go!
Well, there you go.
I love that.
Yeah.
Like, I just want to know more about Paul now.
Yeah. Alright, so we got lots of feedback. We gotta get right into it. Can somebody play the feedback from Will that I just put in the Skype?
Sure. I think I'm gonna head out now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks for sticking around as long as you did.
Yeah. All right. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.
Yeah.
While you're setting that up, I'll read one. Okay, so feedback for episode 3 and 4. Hello. We didn't even comment on that. That was funny.
That was.
Just listen to your first podcast of the new season. I love the fact that Lynch has the balls to make an inaccessible weird-ass art film instead of the charming soap opera many people apparently expected. I think you are grossly underestimating how boring and unoriginal the series could have been if it focused on the plot lines and characters from season 2.
Oh.
It could have been great, it just needs to be written well.
Yeah.
Whether you like new episodes or not, they are definitely interesting to watch. That's true. That guy from your podcast complaining about Lynch directing all the episodes is, in my personal opinion, an absolute madman. There you go, Matt A. You're a madman. Anyways, it was good to hear your voices again, and I'm glad you gave your honest opinions, even if it's hard to listen to someone bashing something I really enjoyed. Hope you will focus more on the positives next time. Sorry. Sincerely, Mr. Svante Haugli. Thank you, from Norway.
We should probably keep mentioning too that like the first season of Twin Peaks was good all over the place. Like people always mention, the second season is when Lynch left, but the first season was good, and not all the episodes were directed by Lynch. And
he was actually there more for the second season, I thought. He was doing Wild at Heart during the first season, I believe.
Yeah, so I feel like that's... I don't know, I feel like people just like see Lynch as like this like big savior of the show and stuff because he came back at the end. But he didn't have like a ton to do with it. Like he helped create it, sure, but
it was a group effort.
Yeah, it was a group effort, and I think that's why it was so great. It benefited from all these minds coming together and kind of like bouncing off each other. I think if you're just one person, sometimes it's hard to get your head out of your own ass. You know what I mean? Like Brad was saying, like, it's too much. He's like reveling too much in his own art, I guess.
It's also tough because this is one of those properties that is so eclectic in its tone and its style that it has a little something for everyone. But that can just, it's a double-edged sword because you can just as easily, it's like, Star Wars is the same way. Every time there's a new Star Wars movie, there's people that love it and there are people who hate it, people who say there's too much Force stuff, and people say not enough, and it's just it's kind of is the nature of the beast.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it depends on like what you're a fan of, right? Like if you are a fan of David Lynch's movies and you ended up liking Inland Empire, then this might be for you. But yeah, like some people don't like that type of Lynch film,
Brad, do you think you're ready with that audio feedback?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Hello guys, this is Will. To answer Matt's question from last week, no, I'm not watching it with the friend that you and Mel met at the Twin Peaks Festival. He's currently in Mississippi debating whether or not to get a Showtime subscription to watch them. Told him I'm not sure if I can recommend it yet, but I'll let him know. I'm actually watching this with a friend that I got hooked on Twin Peaks when we were dating last year. Interestingly enough, he broke things off between us after watching Fire Walk with Me. I guess he saw a little too much of Laura Palmer in himself, and he thought that he would be bad for me, but we're still friends. We watched episodes 3 and 4 right after the premiere, so it's not all that fresh in my memory, but I loved 3 and 4 a lot more than 1 and 2, especially episode 4. I think one of the things about this show is that you have to be okay with not understanding what everything means right off the bat. It's like when people were saying Lost was confusing. I'm like, no, you just have to get used to the idea that they're not going to explain everything at the end of every episode, but this show is even more fucking confusing, I think, but I love it. I still love it. I can kind of follow what's going on. I'm just not sure that any of it's going to make any sense by the time we get to the end. My friend and I were joking so much during these 2 episodes that, Showtime people must have been thinking, wow, we paid for that, or he wanted money to do that. Well, I think the Log Lady scenes were in the first 2 episodes, but yeah, those were really emotional. With these 2, I loved Cooper's journey through wherever the hell he was going, even though I'm not quite sure what was going on. It was kind of fun to watch. Not sure. I hope we get real Cooper back soon, because we spend much more time watching him in this state. It's gonna get old really fast. Even though the casino scenes were fun, they did go on too long, and the breakfast scene as well. How could this lady not recognize that something's different about her husband, unless her husband was like this the whole time? I don't know. It's great seeing David Duchovny back, and Gordon Cole, and Albert, and this TP. I'm guessing she's a TP from the book. So I think I'm going to like these music scenes at the end. I'm guessing it's going to be like that every episode. That's us. I really love these 2 episodes. I hope they continue more along this line with the addition of more Twin Peaks stuff. And I will talk to you guys later. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks, Will.
For some reason, well, not for some reason, I just want Will to, reprise his, Hooplecast.
Comparing each episode to a sex act?
Yes.
This episode is like when blah, blah, blah. That was comedy gold. Listen to Hooplecast for Will's sex act rating system. Mel, do you want to read one?
Yeah, sure.
And Brad, I got 2 more audio feedbacks if you want to prepare those.
Sure.
Who is this from? There's no sign off.
It is from Sam Barber.
Sam Barber. Hey guys, greeting from the UK. Here are some brief thoughts on episode 3 and 4, as well as some comments about last week's show. Firstly, I was not surprised about your reaction to the season's opening, as it was one of the most inaccessible TV openings I've ever seen. That being said, I personally loved it, as I am a massive Lynch fan, and I'm willing to put up with some bullshit, like the tree, to get to the interesting stuff, like the glass box mystery and David Duchovny in a dress. I was slightly saddened to hear that you guys have been getting hate for disliking Lynch, as I think some Lynch fans are treating Twin Peaks as if it is their show, which is completely unreasonable. Just remember that there is a silent majority of listeners who love to hear your lighthearted take on the show, and that the people who are being dicks have clearly lost perspective. It is a fucking TV show.
Here.
In terms of the latest episodes, I think Frost's input is becoming more apparent, and that the charm of the show has come back with full force, i.e. chocolate bunnies. Although I love the opening, I think that these episodes are even stronger, despite the fact that there is a strange amount of time devoted to Cooper trying to eat pancakes. Keep up the good work. Thanks, Sam.
Thank you.
You know, I feel like this show too, like for me, might benefit, like, because the more I think about it, so, like the more I think I like the show. But then I don't know. I don't know if it's just gonna take some time or.
Well, yeah, it's so
It's just so different, right?
different from what you were expecting / wanting.
Yeah.
It's jarring. It doesn't mean
Yeah.
it's bad. It just means
Yeah.
it's not. You weren't prepared for it.
Give me time to adjust, guys.
Yeah. Gary, do you mind reading one?
Sure.
This one is from Joshua Sanchez.
All right. Joshua Sanchez says, in the first 4 parts, specifically 2, 3, and 4, when Doppelganger Cooper is contacting Philip Jeffries, it made me wonder if Philip Jeffries is a resident from either the Black Lodge or the Red Room. Also, since Doppel Cooper is reaching out to him, I am assuming Jeffries helped him set up the Dougie clone. So that way, when it was time for the real Dale Cooper to come back, Doppel Cooper could stay. Any thoughts on that? Also, since Leland is asking Cooper to find Laura, does that mean Laura is not from the world, or is it an allegory for Cooper to find what's pure and right in the world? I feel like I needed to think about this feedback. But it made me think of something. I don't know if you guys considered this, but the whole thing with like finding Laura and Laura in the Red Room, when she takes her face off and it's just like white light under that, to me it kind of makes me think that Laura's not even in the lodge at that point. That basically that's the thing that's speaking to Cooper, like an admission that, oh, I'm just a mask, I'm a facade, I'm just coming and appearing to you this way because so I don't know, but I don't know if you guys have any thoughts about wondering if Philip comes from the Black Lodge.
He didn't seem to come from there in the movie. He seemed like a real guy who got trapped there or transported there. Maybe this.
It's just he kept being transported like all kinds of places and just being shuffled around by the electricity.
I didn't get the impression that Philip was evil, so I'm going to assume it's Doppel Philip.
Yeah.
Because remember I don't know if we talked about the phone call, how it did not sound a thing like Philip.
Yeah.
Right.
You know.
Yeah, it wasn't Philip. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and he asks, is it Philip? So that means there's somebody out there that was either aware of how he talked to evil Philip and was intercepting that. So who knows who that party is?
Yeah. Do you mind reading one, Brad?
Sure. Do we want to listen to this voicemail first?
Yeah, we can do one of those.
Right.
There's a lot of people.
Hey, this is Greg, calling you from the Shetland Islands of Scotland. I've been a big fan of the podcast since I first caught it back in 2011. I really enjoy the light-hearted and sassy tone you guys bring to the table. No surprises that I'm also a big fan of the series. My season 3 screening party started 4 weeks in advance to recap on some key episodes and the movie. Back in 2007, I was living in Vancouver and took a trip across the border, not via speedboat, to attend the Twin Peaks Festival, camped in the woods with other fans with percolated coffee by the campfire, and geeked out solidly for 3 days. Anyway, I digress. Happy to say that I'm really enjoying the season so far. When Cooper fell into that purple ocean netherworld, I was about 2 inches from the TV screen. I do agree with you, though, that the first couple of episodes didn't quite have the old charm, but the comedy seems to be creeping back in now. Venturing outside the town itself isn't personally an issue. Twin Peaks feels like its own world, and I'm interested to explore other places, like Deer Meadow and Fire Walk With Me. Of course, I wouldn't extend that to the Evelyn storyline, but let us never speak of that. Thoughts on episode 3 and 4 in particular. Loved the creepy Cooper interrogation with Gordon and Albert. Also loved that Denise is now head of the FBI, and Gordon's conversation with her was really sweet in places. Some of the Lucy stuff was a little slapstick for me, but I do like the idea that she can't quite wrap her head around the concept of cell phones, almost like Twin Peaks can't quite reconcile with the modern world. I'll finish up with an observation from episode 1. In the Las Vegas establishing shot, we hear a short excerpt of some distinctive music from the original show. I'm fairly sure that this music was the same cue used when we first saw Audrey Horne in the pilot. When the man behind the desk says, "Tell her she's got the job," I got excited thinking that Audrey may have been hired to watch the glass box. I was expecting her to be sitting there when Cooper emerged later in the episode. Not to be, but I wonder if the music was a clue about Audrey's role later in the series. Or maybe they just liked the music. Anyway, keep up the good work, everyone. Hang loose, Howies.
Great feedback, thank you. I have no clue what Audrey's going to do in
What
this
if
series.
Audrey is the billionaire that was funding the box?
Yeah, could be. She wants to find Cooper.
Yeah.
This is a Cooper catching box.
Billy Zane.
Yeah, yeah. Oh no.
It's Billy Zane! Oh my gosh, she married
him.
Billy Zane!
Divorced him,
Oh.
got all
Got
his
his
money.
money.
And
Yeah.
set up a coup finding operation. Yeah, but do you mind reading this?
Sorry, but should we bring up the fact that when we rewatch the series, you could really see Billy Zane's hairline?
Especially on the
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Blu-ray? Yeah.
You could really see like where they glued the hair to his forehead.
Yeah,
It was kind of funny.
it was.
So where does this start?
It says, "Hey, Twin Peaks podcast."
Oh, I see it. Okay. Hey, Twin Peaks podcast. Here's a few more scattered thoughts from watching the third and fourth parts. I like the touch that it looks like a bad Dale is vomiting up cream corn and what I can only presume is engine oil. The drugged out woman in the house across the street is shouting 119, and I wonder if it's some weird residual effect from the backwards Red Room garbling her attempts to call out 911.
Oh.
Lucy was never this stupid. She was definitely smarter than Andy. I cringed at her manic scream when she falls out of her chair after seeing a cell phone. Come on. God, it was crazy. But then Andy's line sold it for me. That made up for everything. Lynch has always loved his old people. He's always loved his old people he can film doddering about doing simple tasks ridiculously slowly. So he must be delighted that Kyle MacLachlan was old enough he can shoot him that way now. Oh! Wicked burn! I wondered if Lynch and Frost would remember the little detail that fan favorite Denise was actually DEA in the original series and not FBI. But at least here they take the time to pull an improbable retcon to say that Denise was only undercover for the Bureau when she was working at the DEA. Fix your hearts or die is an awesome rebuttal to casual prejudice. I guess we have confirmation for the theory that the Lodge can literally access our world through electrical currents. Breaking the sequence down to the bare plot, it seems... Oh boy, that seems difficult to do. Breaking the sequence down to the bare plot, it seems the lady with no eyes had to flip the switch on top of the box floating in space to turn the power on, so Cooper would be able to go through the door into what was presumably supposed to be the cigarette lighter in the Bad Dale's car at precisely 2:53 p.m. This sounds insane. Still have fun, Daniel.
Oh, well, I'm glad you're still having fun, Daniel.
That was Daniel wrote "This sounds insane." That wasn't Brad commenting on it. We agree, Daniel.
Indeed.
It's fun,
Want me to read this one?
sure.
Okay. Who's it from?
It is from
Harold?
Harold.
Okay. This is from Harold. I have so many thoughts about these episodes, but I will try to keep this brief, even though my dharma is sending you feedback. Probably the thing I always disliked the most about Firewalk with Me was that Lil scene and the stuff about the Blue Rose. I always thought it was stupid and obvious, and it cheapened everything I liked about Twin Peaks. But I guess I'm going to have to live with it, since the phrase Blue Rose is all over the place this week. With mentions this week of Lewis and Clark and Briggs meeting Cooper before dying in the fire, plus the appearance of Tamara Preston, I think it is safe to say that the secret history is in fact relevant to this new series.
Never.
Whether it is essential is to be determined. When Lucy points out that Hawk is an Indian, all I could think of was you guys complaining that Lynch and Frost are being racist.
We didn't even
mention it, but I did write it down in my notes. I was like, I'm surprised that they said that, but then they kind of went back and said,
I gave her a pass because she's so dumb, it seems, and also Hawk gave her a pass.
yeah.
Yeah, it's tough to tell with the show sometimes where that line is. Is it the characters saying this, or is it the writers, just being old?
I think, the fact that Lucy and Andy are so stuck in the past that I feel like it sort of makes sense.
And there's so much more that's so much more offensive.
Hawk knows how they are. He knows they're not trying to be offensive.
Yeah. By the way, someone on the internet posted a screenshot of books in Ruth Davenport's apartment, and one of them had the title Indian Heritage.
Yep, and she lives at Arrow Point Road or something like that too. This has something to do with Hawk's heritage. There's literally an Indian heritage book in her apartment.
Is this our new Leo locked inside a hungry horse?
I guess so.
I am really disappointed in the casting of Krista Bell as Tamara Preston. From the book, I was expecting that they could have casted someone much more capable, like Laura Dern or Amanda Seyfried. I have come to the conclusion that Denise's comments about her to Cole mirrored Frost's opinions to Lynch. Interesting. I just loved everything about Wally Brando. He's definitely Dick Tremaine's progeny. Brad, you need to counter this.
I wish. I would love it. I would love it. I mean, is Dick Tremaine coming back? Do we know that?
I don't think so.
Which is a shame.
Like, that's some fucking bullshit.
I know.
I'm making my own new season of Twin Peaks, alright? It's gonna be Dick Tremaine, Nadine and Mike, Little Nicky.
Aw, little Nicky all grown up.
Yeah.
Aw, I like it.
Yeah, that's it. That's the entire cast.
My favorite moment was Bobby getting emotional upon seeing Laura's picture with Laura's theme playing. That was our throwback to classic Twin Peaks. So, who is the woman that Albert and Gordon are going to find? I am thinking it will be Diane, and she'll be played by Laura Dern. That's everybody's guess so far.
It seems like a safe bet.
Yeah.
Thanks, Harold. Thanks, Harold.
Yes, thank you, Harold.
Why? Oh, get a voicemail here.
Okay.
Hello, it's Matt B here with some thoughts and observations on episodes 3 and 4 of Twin Peaks: The Return. The episode starts with Coop trying to exit the lodge. We have the purple room, there's lots of Garmin Bozier vomiting going on. I knew this was likely to be a stream of ideas rather than adopting a more traditional episodic structure. But for me, this should have been in episode 2. It's too much to ask of the audience to start episode 3 like this after the first couple of episodes, and I expect lots of people switched off at that point, which is a shame, because if you stick with it, then I think once Coop returns to the real world, things get going, and there's lots to like for me. The casino scenes are fun. In particular, there's one scene with Coop and someone who I assume is the casino manager, and there's some CCTV feeds in the background of various roulette wheels and things, and that brought to mind a scene from One-Eyed Jacks in season 1, where Coop and Ed are undercover as Bookhouse boys, and I think that's a nice little callback. Though my favourite Cooper bit from this episode was the shot of him looking in the mirror, which recalled the final scene from season 2. When I first saw this show, admittedly I was young, but I would get a feeling of discomfort when seeing a mirror in shot, because you just didn't know who or what you would see looking back at you. And that shot made that feeling return for me, which was quite exciting. That took place at Dougie and Janie's, and Dougie and Janie's intrigues me. Here we have the Rancho Rosa estate, recalling the Red Room. We have Sycamore Street, recalling the trees around Glastonbury Grove. And we have Lancelot Court and Merlin's Market, both references to Arthurian legend, just like Glastonbury Grove. We also see an owl flying overhead, and there's even an owl shaped, I think it's a biscuit tin, or I guess you guys would say a cookie jar, which makes me wonder whether this is some sort of community for lodge exiles or creations like Dougie. There's something going on there. And other reasons for thinking this, we also see Sonny Jim, his actions recalling the waiter from the first episode of season 2, Senor Drool Cup, giving it the thumbs up. There's also another local resident who we see repeating 119, 119, and if you say that backwards, that would be 911 or a call for help. So there's something going on here. Back in Twin Peaks, Hawk is still trying to find out what is missing and what he's supposed to be doing. I do wonder if there's something that's missing is simply either Coop's soul or Coop's personality or something, because he did say, if you remember, when he tried to leave Twin Peaks in season 2, that if he was ever lost, Hawk would be the person he would want them to send to find him. We get Wally Brando. When I first saw this, I hated that scene. I couldn't take my eyes off Andy, who's acting in a very, very awkward manner, stood behind Michael Cera. The second time I watched it, actually, I thought it was okay, and I didn't notice the first time he was. He had the Marlon Brando intonation in his voice, the slight lisp, and all of the references to Brando in his films, and actually did quite amuse me the second time round. Dr. Jacoby, still no idea what he's up to. I do like his contraption for painting shovels, though. You know, that's going to shave seconds off his time by building that. Look forward to finding out what the golden shovels are up to. The best part of these episodes for me, though, are the scenes with Albert and Gordon Cole. Again, like we said last week, these scenes are tinged with some sadness after the passing of Miguel Ferrer afterwards, but there's some great stuff here, some good quotes which I'm sure you'll be repeating as well, particularly dialogue from the scene in the car. One small disappointment for me, aside from the mild sexism on display, is when Gordon, Albert and Tammy are at the airfield. I thought we might see Lil doing some funky mime exposition. That didn't come to pass, but it's okay, because we then had a great scene at the station where they're interviewing Bad Coop, who after his crash he's almost desperately trying to remember how he's supposed to be acting. After spewing all that Garmin Bozier up, he's slurring, and he accidentally speaks a little bit backwards. I don't know if you caught that. It's quite eerie stuff. Certainly, I think Carl McLaughlin is earning his corn here, playing 3 different roles. I did enjoy Bad Coop more in these episodes than previously, and so I'd like him to stick around, but I guess he can't coexist for long with real Coop now back in the real world, so I guess we may have to put up with the confused Dougie / Coop / Mr. Jackpot, or whatever we're calling him, for a bit longer. The whole thing finishes, we get another nice song playing over the credits. I've seen some differing opinions on the having the bands in the Bang Bang Bar at the end of each episode, but I quite like that. It draws everything to a close, and yeah, it's nice stuff. I think overall this has got me excited again, and I'm really looking forward to the next one now, and I'm hoping you guys are feeling the same, but look forward to hearing what you've got to say either way. Thanks, bye.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Matt.
I'm looking forward to the next one.
Sure.
Same. Sure.
Okay, we're moving along. We got 3 feedback left after this. Okay. Hello, I just found your podcast.
No, it's hello.
Right, I just found your podcast, and I really appreciate your commentary. I've heard a lot of Twin Peaks podcasts, and you guys have the most well-rounded takes and thoughtful conversations about it all. I hope you don't say that to everyone. A couple of things I noticed on my rewatch of the new episodes. At first glance, I noticed a badly photoshopped family photo of Lucy's desk, and now I just noticed that it's their family's heads popped onto the final scene of It's a Wonderful Life.
Oh my god.
Wow.
Nice.
Also, rewatching the scene with Bobby's emotional outburst, I think he snorted a few lines in the bathroom right before the scene. At one point, he does cocaine snort during his crying. Seems like it could mean he's up to something in terms of the drug trafficking. Oh no.
Yes.
Bobby, no. Yeah. At any rate, thanks for the great show. If you ever need music, check out my band Prom Queen. I made the Stranger Peaks mashup.
Interesting.
promqueenband.bandcamp.com. From Leanie, I think that was. I've heard of that, but I never actually listened to it.
You'll have to.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Does somebody want to read one from...
I will read this.
Chris?
Yeah, I can read it. After Star Wars, Indiana Jones, Before Midnight, and The Evil Dead, Twin Peaks was the only other thing that I wanted back for more. So okay, David and Mark, do whatever the hell you want. But Jesus Christ, episode 3 was rough. The first 20 minutes were the most Eraserheady thing I've ever seen since Eraserhead. That doesn't make it good. The Rain Man stuff can go to hell too. I'm so glad nobody was with me when I watched it, because I'm codependent on the things I love, and any disapproval would have felt like a personal attack. This new series is hypnotic though, and I can't stop watching it, thinking about it, and rewatching it. In episode 4, I threw both arms in the air when Deputy Bobby showed up. I'm glad that the industrious young delinquent got his shit together. But what fascinates me most of all is how Lynch himself is carrying the show as far as acting is concerned. That interrogation was chilling and magnificent. Keep touching me there. Love, Chris. Do you really want David Lynch to touch you there?
He won't respect you.
So we've got a 2-part email from Ben, and then we're done. Does somebody?
Yeah, I can take it. Hi guys! There's 2 exclamation points on that. My name is Ben, and I'm definitely more on the Lynch side of the Twin Peaks fandom and a huge David Lynch apologist, but even my faith was tested by this episode. If that damn time-skipping, rewinding scene lasted 5 more seconds, I might have quit right there. That said, the episode did finally get things moving, sort of. Cooper is out of the Black Lodge, and Brad is getting the bright colors he was hoping for. Garmin Bosie is back and way grosser this time around. Do you guys think the Doppelkoop didn't disappear because he covered his mouth, or could he have something to do with Dougie being fabricated, and that's what keeps him out of the lodge? But then how does Dougie get the ring? I'm not anticipating a ton of answers here, though, to be honest, but I did get a chuckle out of the "that's weird" line as Dougie's hand shrunk. Seeing Cole and Albert together certainly was awesome. Wondering if there could be a significance to the fact that they get the call about Cooper right as they were talking about the cube. It reminds me of something Agent Cooper said in the original series about 2 simultaneous events happening about the same thing. This seems a bit long, and I might write episode 4 feedback, so I'll leave with one question. Is it about the bunny?
I don't think it's about the bunny. I think it's about that book in Ruth Davenport's apartment.
What did he mean by they were talking about the cube? I don't remember that.
They were talking about the victims of the cube monster.
Oh, the glass book. Okay, cool.
Yeah. I think Doppelkoop didn't disappear because he won the Hold Your Vomit contest. That's what I think. Which just wasn't fair for Dougie because he didn't know it was a contest.
Dougie doesn't know a lot of things.
Yeah. Brad, do you mind reading the last one?
He's not a real person anyways.
True. It's not even a real person anyways.
Oh, hi guys. Been here again, 2 exclamation points. Well, the episode certainly seemed to get things moving a lot quicker than we've seen so far. Still, this hour-long show was only like 10 scenes, but I think episode 3 was like 4 scenes, so it's an improvement. Agreed. Naomi Watts is always effective as a frazzled lady, and her talents seem to be very well on display here. The scene with the Jones family have the feel of the scenes with Senior Drool Cup in episode 1 of season 2. A fighting reluctance to move forward in the way the viewer wants. Lingering shots of little to no action from Cooper, although far less frustrating than episode 3. Still try our patience. That sunny Jim Jones is one well-adjusted kid to just watch his dad act like an animated corpse with almost no reaction. Oh, now I'm just imagining a Twin Peaks Weekend at Bernie's crossover.
Hey.
And as much as the scene drags, I'm hopeful that Coop is truly back with that first sip of coffee. Oh, I hope so too.
Yeah, I mean, he dropped his fork and everything when he saw it. He's like, "What the? This is going to be something big," and I don't know if it worked.
All right. My wife and I loved everything about Wally Brando. The insane accent, his comparing himself to Lewis and Clark, Truman's reaction to him, how much Lucy and Andy adore him. Everything about it was just ridiculous enough for us. The meeting with Doppelkoop is super disturbing. An article pointed out that he says one of his first words backwards. Instead of saying "it's very good," he says "it's you," and it seems Gordon noticed, according to his conversation with Albert later. Speaking of Albert, I feel like he has been compromised in some way, as he seems afraid to meet Doppelkoop's gaze. Kind of feels like Lynch is letting everyone know it's okay to be lost right now, with his stating that he doesn't understand what's happening at all. Last but not least is Bobby's reaction to Laura's photo. It's crazy, but he started to look a little like Leland with his crazy crying face. I'm actually really excited to see Bobby Briggs involved in solving this mystery. It's a dynamic that I find super cool. I forgot to do a rating on my last one, but this episode gets 8 out of 10 dog legs. Things are picking up, and I laughed a lot more this time. I love Wally. Totally Dick Tremaine's kid. Really? Dick, come on. And how exasperated he makes Truman. The FBI stuff is compelling, and it almost seems like Gordon is going to be our Cooper this go around, and that's intriguing too. Thanks for making an amazing show.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ben. Yeah, that is interesting how we're kind of like, it's Gordon's investigation right now. And we're going to follow him while he investigates. I wonder if he'll take a back seat eventually. Probably. All right, so that's all our feedback. Thanks, everyone, for the feedback.
That's a lot of feedback.
That's a lot of feedback, and it wouldn't have been so bad if we didn't have to review 2 episodes. But
yeah.
Going forward, I'm hoping this will be much shorter. Gary, I'm sorry we kept you so long. I'm sorry.
Oh, no. It's a pleasure.
We don't love this show unconditionally.
No, I mean, I have my issues too, so. But I do love it, and I am super, super excited.
Don't apologize for your hormones now.
I love at the end of that scene where he does like he has a hot flash or something.
He has a hot flash.
She has a hot flash.
Yeah.
So do you have anything you'd like to plug?
Well, if anybody, for whatever weird reason, wanted to check out my stuff, you can go to modmythmedia.com. That's like modern mythos media, but it's just modmythmedia.com. And actually I have a link there if you're into Lynch stuff and Twin Peaks. It's a mood reel about 8 minutes long for a feature film that I'm actually shooting right now, just a little indie thing I wrote and directed called West Coast Gothic. So check that out. And well, I guess that's it. But thanks for having me on. I mean, I've been listening to this podcast for years, and I was excited when I got to meet you guys at the fest a couple years ago, and now to be on it is really cool.
Awesome. Are you going to go back to the fest again?
I don't know. It's long, and now that the diner has been remodeled, I do kind of want to go check it out. But it's I mean, getting up to that town, like you feel it. It comes to life, which is really cool. Like even cooler than it's like you don't even need the fest. You just go to be in that environment. It's really neat.
I think a lot of people do that anyways. Like they just go off season or whatever, whenever, And I think that would be worth it just going by yourself for sure, or even going with a few friends,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Cool. Brad, what do you have to plug?
Guys, you can hear me on the Ramjack podcast, just talking about our random shenanigans and tomfoolery. It's a good time. Also on Calavici Fashion Cast, talking about every episode of Quantum Leap and the terrifying fashions that they had on that show. It's a good time. So check those out.
Cool.
What's the latest terrifying fashions?
Oh, guys, we had one so bad my computer crashed when I was taking a screen cap. I swear it was that bad.
It's like breaking a mirror.
It was like the back of the jacket was a different pattern than the front, and it was it was a nightmare. Oh, it was so bad.
Awesome. Okay, well, thanks everyone for listening, and we'll see you next time. See ya.
See ya.
Bye.
Thanks for listening. Check us out on twitter.com/TwinPeaksCast. Search for the Twin Peaks Podcast group on Facebook, and visit us on twinpeakspodcast.blogspot.com. Email your feedback to twinpeakspodcast@gmail.com.
Yeah.